Welcome to another episode of Lost in the Script TV. Power and Poison, episode 205. How y'all doing? As always, hopefully y'all had a stress-free week as possible. What's up, Regina? Peace, love, and soul train. Duke into the chat. What up, Dre? What's good? Got some gossip to get to this week, I guess. But there's a greater overall thing that's coming to that we're going to get to. It ain't just the gossip we're going to get to this week. It, to me, signifies a greater point and a shift that happened in the last couple years that hopefully will make for a positive change, hopefully. Dre said, a long time no see. Good to see you, man. Hopefully life been good to you and your fam. Health and wealth and peace and prosperity to all y'all. I guess we can get right into it. I had to change it up this week. I almost couldn't go live because for whatever reason, the app OBS was messing up like crazy. So I had to just do it on one system instead of two. Hopefully I have that fixed before next week, because I done got so used to doing it another way, but yeah, that don't really matter. I saw that video you posted too, Regina. I'm gonna show that during the segment because I got a segment where we're gonna talk about certain things like that. I'm gonna bring it up, make sure I bring that up. Hold on. All right. Guess we can get right into it. We're gonna start with it too. This topic starts as just some typical drama in hip hop or entertainment industry, but to me, as I said earlier, it may turn into something more. Show a sign of a shift, of a change that probably started sometime 3-4 years ago, thanks to a social media personality, that being Charleston White. He came out a few years ago, doing all the answers and stuff he was doing and saying the wild stuff he was saying, mixing it in with some truth. But one of the things he said that stuck with a lot of people, particularly in hip hop, was the snitching stuff. He went against the whole culture that has existed in hip hop for the last 20, 25, 30 years even, about being against the idea of snitching. Now we know snitching is when a person who commits a crime with his co-defendant, and in order to get out of trouble, he tells on his co-defendant. That's snitching. A civilian can't snitch. A regular person, minding their business, paying taxes, working, cannot be a snitch. But Young Thug seemingly addresses online backlash after jail calls leak, bashing me only gonna F that rap community up more. So Young Thug, the rapper out of Atlanta, who's been dealing with a RICO charge the last couple of years, he finally was able to quote unquote beat the case, but he kind of didn't. He's in house arrest for the next decade or whatever. And it's clearly an effort by someone who wants to destroy his his image, his presence that he has across music, to turn people against him. This started with a call leak. They started leaking these calls a week ago maybe, and it seemed like every day now a new leak came out. A new leak came out today even. So every day there's a leak coming out of this rapper who seemed to have been well liked and respected around the industry, by most people at least. I've seen everybody big him up. He's now has a call dissing every last one of them almost. And keep in mind, I will say this: these are private calls that he was having. Yeah, we know that when you're in jail, they tell you this call can be recorded. He didn't care. He's facing a RICO, life in prison. He don't know if he's getting out. He's frustrated, going through a lot of mental anguish. He just letting the clip ring with anybody on the phone, whether it's his girl, his homies. He's giving raw, unfiltered opinions. Some of them may be stuff he don't really believe, but he's in a moment, he's just angry at the world. He's going through a lot of stuff. He's just saying things. But that's besides the point. Along with all this talk around him is people acknowledging, or at least starting to connect this to what they deem to be the fall of Atlanta. It's at least in the music industry, entertainment industry, and how maybe them being the center of Black America in the entertainment sphere may be coming to an end, particularly with music. We'll stick to the hip hop side of it. Or there may be a shift in who will be somebody respected from Atlanta. It's been Metro, Future, uh, Young Thug, Lil Baby, 21 Savage. I still don't understand how he became an actual respected rapper, but it is what it is. So let's get into it, right? In the first leaks that I saw, or at least the ones that became a real trending topic, was when he spoke on his jail phone, when he spoke on another rapper and Kendrick Lamar. And he had these comments. I want to play what he said. I'm pretty sure if y'all care about it, y'all already heard it. And I'm going to speak on it after. We're not going to play the whole thing, just some of it, obviously.
With the racks, with Kendrick. Future grocery bag. Say again?
I hope he do it.
So do I. I mean, well, even if you don't get...
He don't take no money, do he?
No. He wouldn't do that.
Now, they're on the phone. This is Young Thug on the phone with one of the people in his crew trying to get a feature from Kendrick for his album Business is Business a few years ago while he was in jail. And you notice he asked him, I hope he do it. Does he take money? And he said no. And I got to admit, this phone call kind of made Kendrick seem even more solid that he doesn't take money for features. But anyway, he has to actually want to do the song.
I mean, well, even if you don't get...
He don't take no money, do he?
No. He wouldn't do that. But think about it. He does so few verses. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he's not just doing verses. Like,
right. But
the only other person that gets a Kendrick verse is Baby King, and that's like his cousin or his nephew or something.
Right. He getting all the damn verses to this nigga, man. What the heck you doing, crazy?
Giving all the verses to his nigga.
All that fake, I ain't getting no rapper song shit. I don't be liking them type nigga like that.
Why?
You nigga get too big. I don't want to do no feature. Why? Why you don't want to do no feature? Why when you want to do a feature for a superstar? Like you ain't like goddamn Strict calling you for a song. You know, like
yeah.
You really got Lil Durk calling you for a song. Lil Baby, Thug, real superstar calling you for a song. Why wouldn't you do the song? We lit, nigga. We going number 1 too. Fuck you thinking? You know, it's just like I don't be understanding that type of shit. Supposed to be a nigga who bless a nigga. That's why them niggas will never be bigger than Drake ever in life. Niggas will never be bigger than Buddy. Buddy gonna do it right. Buddy fucking with everybody. You know how many niggas like Drake chain? How many niggas can take care of their family because of Buddy?
And this is the problem. I'm gonna be pausing some of them. I'm not gonna play all these clips because it's a whole bunch of clips. But he's making the point that the reason why Kendrick won't be, and shout out Kiefer. He's making the point that Kendrick should be doing features with Lil Baby and Young Durk and him because they do numbers too. These ain't no little rappers asking you for a feature, and that's why none of y'all will be big as Drake, because Drake get on the song with anybody. He'll get on the song with anybody and help anybody. Yeah, it's definitely funny. I ain't gonna lie, this conversation was really funny. All the conversation releasing is funny. Even when they had a conversation about him and his girl was talking about Glorilla. He called a woman ugly, and he wouldn't even date her. And then, now the leak is out, and she responded, and he apologized for it. Dude is funny. And shout out to Glasses Malone, because I ain't gotta act like put this in sequence. This stuff is kind of it's happening in real time at this point. Glasses Malone, I feel like earlier today or yesterday, Glasses Malone says something that made me look at this whole situation different, because everybody's of the same mind. Like, damn, somebody releasing these calls trying to destroy Buddy, trying to really hurt him, his public image, trying to make him look like a lame, just gossiping and talking crazy about people on the phone with his girl and with his homies. He two-faced, yada yada yada. But Glasses Malone, he was like, this dude might be a genius. And that's when I started thinking, is he the one leaking this? I'm not gonna say he's leaking it, should I say? But should I say, is he gonna be smart enough? Because he called Future dumb. I'm gonna get to that later. Is he gonna be smart enough to turn these leaks into a better rollout for his album that's coming? We'll see. But anyway, back to this. He said Drake does features with everybody. That's why he's gonna be the biggest. That's why people fuck with him. And I immediately thought, that's what's wrong with the culture. Atlanta for a long time, they're the ones that helped put Southern hip hop on the map, thanks to Outkast. And he talked junk about Andre 3K too. We'll get to that. They helped the Goody Mob, not Goody, Dungeon Family, all them, the Southern rappers out of Texas, people out of Memphis area, obviously in the late 90s, early mid 90s, all the way through the 2000s, obviously. They helped put Southern hip hop on the map and take it over. But there was a sense of unity that existed, where even if there was beefs, nobody did things publicly. As people keep saying, that Atlanta or the South in general has been able to keep their beefs private, outside of the, the T.I. and Flip situation, whatever. But because you allow people to come in, and because they do songs with you and help you make money, you don't care about their intentions. I'm using this as to compare to what he doesn't care about whether you like Drake's music or not, whether you think he's a culture or a culture vulture, or his father's being from Memphis and he's stamped in this, he's true to this, he's a student of the game, whatever your opinion of him is, the way he moves is clear. He doesn't always do things that's the best intention for the culture or the genre in general. So the fact that you're willing to dismiss that because he'll do a song with me, you don't care about actually doing a song with someone you like and vibe with, have a sense of y'all have a certain agreements on just life. As long as you do a song with me and I could do numbers and make money, we cool. And that's kind of the biggest problem. And it helped erase the regional sound. When you allow a person like Drake to come in and do a feature on Migos, or he does a song with Thug and their sound, and now that song is popular, but now people in the other regions who want to be popular are doing your sound. So no one's being regional until the last year or so. People weren't being regional anymore. Everybody was trying to do the same sound to get popping, to get lit on the internet, get a song that go viral, make some money, and move on to content creation. So this is a point that he's made that is showing why things have looked the way they have the last 10, 15 years.
Just like straight fucking with you. Kendrick, goddamn, put a nigga on. Y'all niggas, you're a superstar. You don't ran up you a few hundred M, but you ain't put nobody on though. You see what I'm saying? You ain't even put Keem on. Cause the shit you and him doing, this shit ain't really doing that.
Right.
Put somebody on. It's okay to run you a few hundred M's up, but who you help though? You ain't really help nobody. It's the saying.
That was the main point that he made in this. And I want to say, I can't say I disagree with what he's saying about who you do features with. Like that last album with Gen X, I would have liked that album even better. And I love that album. I wish he didn't have that Gunplay dude on there, that Mexican dude. Now I know it puts him in a West Coast sound or whatever, but I don't mind you doing music with other black people, platforming other people from other regions. Now, if you want to stick West Coast and do your sound, cool, but yeah. And I get what he was saying, talking about Thug, when he said, do a song with Lil Baby, do a song with, what's his name, Moneybagg Yo and Lil Durk. I understand what Future is actually saying there. Because when you look at, there was a chart or a map that came out a little while ago where they showed who the listeners are of each rapper. And it showed Future's audience is in the South. His audience is in the South. That's who listen to Future the most, people in the South. And then it showed J. Cole, his audience was more East Coast, but had some Southern and a little bit of West Coast, yada, yada, yada. And then it showed Kendrick, it was West Coast, a little bit of South, a little bit of East Coast. And it's like, I can see Future looking at it like, just because we don't do the lyrical miracle rap or the conscious rap that people would deem to be what Kendrick is, that don't mean you can't do features with certain people. I would like it if he did and spread it around a little bit more, not to put people on, but just some people, for instance, him doing songs with Kodak Black, regardless of what you think about who he is outside of music, with the stuff he's accused of, or the music you hear typically in the mainstream, every time he's gotten on a song with Kendrick, he says some deep stuff. So I don't know if that's the actual him or if he only does that with Kendrick. I even went back and listened to some old Kodak Black music, and he was rapping like a backpack, conscious rapper, and he kind of turned into what he is now. But when you rap with different people, it shows other sides of you that I would appreciate that happening more. But anyway, let me go to the next part, the next point. So that's the point here. Don't put nobody on, work with people. Now, unfortunately, this turned into people looking at Thug like he's entitled, because he did the same thing when he spoke about Andre 3000 and J. Cole, where he accused them of not really helping nobody, anybody really trying to hear that, yada, yada, yada. And he said, who did Andre 3000 put on? Let me play a little bit. I'm not gonna play the whole thing because I think it's a little too long. It's not that long. Let me play this.
You one of the biggest artists in the world. You became one of the biggest artists in the world. But you ain't help nobody. You ain't put nobody on. Now you vintage. Now you goddamn can't put out a song and go top 50. You see what I'm saying? You put a song out right now, you can't even go top 50. But you the biggest artist in the entire world at one point. But you ain't put nobody on though. You ain't did that. Ain't no nigga saying they got a career off of you. Like, y'all nigga ain't help nobody. All that rap shit don't mean nothing, man. In 15 years, that shit don't mean nothing.
The rap stuff don't mean nothing. I guess he's saying it's about the money. Now, this is Andre 3000 he's speaking on. And Andre 3000, along with Big Boy, because we can't forget Big Boy's importance to Outkast, had this legendary moment right here. Let me show this. That single-handedly had one of the biggest impacts in hip-hop history right here.
Them closed-minded folks, you know what I'm saying? It's like we got a demo tape and don't nobody want to hear, but it's like this, the South got something to say. That's all I got to say.
That moment right there, dramatically changed hip-hop and what it ended up leading to, what ended up happening afterwards. I can make an argument, not by themselves. I can make an argument that Outkast did 60 to 70% of the work to put the entire South on. I can make that argument. So to say that nobody can say they built a career off of 3K or Outkast in general is crazy. All because he don't want to do a song with you. And this is not new. I heard this from Young Thug when he did the podcast with T.I. Years ago. That's why I was surprised when people was going in on him for saying stuff about Andre 3000. He said this publicly in an interview. He said it. He said how he said. He said Elton John like to kiss asses. Andre 3000 like his ass kissed. He don't want to help nobody. He said that in front of T.I. on his podcast. So, and he did same thing with Lil Wayne when Lil Wayne didn't want to give him a feature, and allegedly a bus got shot up. We're gonna say that's allegedly. A bus got shot up and a whole bunch of other stuff happened behind the scenes, yada yada yada, when he didn't want to work with Young Thug. So Young Thug has shown that he has this sense of entitlement in the industry where if you don't work with him, he gets angry and lashes out. Because 3 Stacks didn't want to work with you like that. And keep in mind, 3 Stacks bigged him up. When everybody was going in on Young Thug for wearing the dresses and all that other stuff, calling his friends, what do you call him, husband or some crazy stuff, where he was trying to get attention by saying wild stuff. It was 3 Stacks, one of the people that came out and defended him, and saying that it was just him expressing himself or some junk, saying how I got the same critique back in 2004 and stuff. So that's kind of crazy. Andre 3000 is the reason why Young Thug can do what he did 10 years ago. The reason why you could be a nigga from Atlanta wearing dresses and stuff and all, it's because 3 Stacks was doing not stuff as far as Thug. He didn't go as far as Thug did. But the reason why you is because he was him. Just because you copied a lot of your music tapes from Lil Wayne, Lil Wayne get his stuff from, he get that from the way he get a lot of that from 3 Stacks. So there's a tree there that if you look at the Andre 3000 tree, it includes the Lil Waynes, the Kendricks. It includes you. It includes all these other. A lot of y'all come from him. It ain't all just Kanye West and Lil Wayne y'all copying. But anyway, Virginia said just from clips here and there, Andre 3000 doesn't seem like he wanted to be associated nor connected to much of Hollywood. So why would he put somebody else in the devil's house? Agreed. When you had that song where he said, "Why do we shoot to be stars? This is Dodge comments." You know, comments. He wanted away from it. I remember the last time Outkast worked together on tour, they had a big tour plan. And they started the tour, and at some point 3 Stacks decided, I don't want to do the tour. And they stopped the tour, they ended it. And then 3 Stacks years later on the song with T.I., he apologized saying, I'm sorry, I'm weird, yada, yada, yada. I just didn't want the fame no more. I didn't want to be those expectations constantly being on me and just constantly being in front of the camera and stuff. I wanted to rap. I just wanted to rap. I didn't want everything else. Dre said, you got CeeLo Green, Killer Mike, Sleepy Brown. They got put on by 3 Stacks. Exactly. And I don't want to give credit to people who may have already been bubbling. Because what's the difference between putting somebody on and co-signing? There's a difference. Like Drake does a lot of co-signing. He doesn't really putting somebody on. To me, it's really what producers do, label heads do. That's how you put somebody on. Or if you sign somebody to your label, that's putting somebody on. Co-signing is this person got a hot track, it's starting to bubble, and I get on the track with them. Or in the interview, I shout them out. That's co-signing. People co-sign all the time, but what is their intentions? Drake getting on the track with you, is it because he actually fuck with you, or is it because you a new style that people are listening to, another trend that he can hop on, and then years later go on about his business? Dre said Andre 2000 was the real first weird dude in hip hop. He opened the door for a lot of people. Exactly. And now, whether we think that's a positive or a negative thing is a whole nother conversation. Because now we get Lil Uzis, we get the Yachties, obviously the Young Thugs. These people exist because people like 3 Stacks and even a little bit of Kanye with his music style is because those guys were so great at what they did. We look past the stuff they were doing. We look past 3 Stacks wearing the kilt or the skirt, whatever you want to call it, because hey, when he dropped that 16, it's gonna be the hardest verse you heard this year. You know what I mean? Now you get the extremes of, like I said, the Uzi Verts and all those dudes that just going off the deep end. But you know, it is what it is. But also with J. Cole actually got a song with him, a big song with him, where he washed him on the song. But to say that he ain't helping no, but the J. Cole signed. He got Jid, a nigga from Atlanta, that he helped put on. Like, what are you talking about? But anyway, once again, the entitlement. But the question got to be asked: if Atlanta becomes uncool, because unfortunately that's still a big deal in hip hop. Being cool and uncool will determine whether or not somebody will listen to your music or not. If Atlanta becomes uncool in the music scene, what happens? What happens? Do we need a hit record? I've seen people having this conversation, hit records in hip hop for black culture to still support it. Because we see people starting to linger and going to other genres a little bit, like country music. R&B is starting to get a little bit more buzz again. Maybe that's just for now. Hopefully it keeps growing. Will hip hop fall to more of the back burner a little bit? I don't know. If Atlanta is no longer at the head of hip hop, what happens? Does anybody take over? Or does it go back to just being regional? Do we get rid of the idea of the megastar existing in hip hop ever again? We would not get any more of these people. Or are they just now content creators or influencers at this point? We'll see. I want to play this too. Let me play this right here. Let me play this. The one person he made sure to defend on that phone call was NBA Youngboy, which I found funny, but yeah.
Like what is
why be the biggest artist in the world on YouTube? Why wouldn't J. Cole do a song with him?
That's true.
Like, come on, bro. You ain't never in your life sold more record than this boy, this young nigga. Fuck is you thinking? Like, tripping.
I'm pretty sure J. Cole has definitely sold more records than NBA Youngboy. But Virginia says, good R&B is having a comeback next to gospel. It is the healing music of American blacks and anybody else listening. Yeah, I believe that too. It also could be that a lot of the Gen Z, they're in a very retro mindset right now. So they're going back to the early 2000s, late 90s to listen to music and dress that way. So it could just be the young kids getting involved in the things that, you know, the millennials were doing. Because unfortunately, the Gen Z don't have stars. They don't, when you talk about entertainment, whether it's acting, music, they don't have like real stars, not popular celebrities. So they tend to gravitate towards what we deem to be real celebrity back in the past, which is somebody who had talent, real talent. It wasn't necessarily about being able to, you know, have a conversation or whatever and have people and go viral. It was about when you do something, people care, and it could because it's good art or talent is shown in this. So a lot of them are starting, you know, dress and go get the lingo and watch the movies, and now they're trying to get into the music that was being done back then. So yeah. Mark says maybe hip hop should go back to underground instead of mainstream. That I heard somebody say that too. I'm seeing people say that if Atlanta loses as the face of, because it's the most popular black entertainment sector in Black America. Outside of New York and California, obviously, but Atlanta is considered the blackest. If they lose control as the face of hip hop, there won't be any stars, and I agree, it's going to go underground again. Which when I say regional, and I'm saying like, do we want that? I see people like Mark says yes, we should go that route of letting hip hop go back to being what it's supposed to be. Hip hop is supposed to be revolutionary. It's supposed to have some level of against the system in it, but it's kind of just about money now. As Young Thug is saying on all these calls, it's just about money. But yeah.
Niggas just be on that. Oh, I don't like your music, or I ain't doing no music with you. Man, nigga don't like y'all nigga music neither. Nigga don't really like that shit you talking about. That shit y'all niggas about. Niggas just want to do songs. Niggas just want, like, it's the game we in. Like, it ain't no, the Atlanta Falcons ain't playing Miami Dolphins because they don't like the Dolphins. Man, we playing everybody. It's the sport we in.
Right.
So he's saying here that J. Cole should do a song with NBA YoungBoy because, a couple years ago there was some alleged tiff between them. He said, doesn't matter what you want to hear or don't want to hear or don't respect. You should do music for everybody because everybody listens to all this stuff. So once again, he's putting money over art. It don't matter if you don't co-sign his lyrics or co-sign his sound or his messaging. You should work with him because it'll make money. It doesn't matter.
Andre 3000, you one of the biggest artists in the world. You became one of the biggest artists.
We just heard what he had to say in the other one. So yeah, that's led to a lot of people talking about, like I said, the downfall of Atlanta being the phase. They're calling it Rat Atlanta because of all the allegations against them and the back and forth they had with QC, label heads talking crazy, going back and forth on social media. Didn't think that I would see it go out like this. I've been saying for like 2 or 3 years that sound has become stale. That copying that Atlanta sound isn't working. We saw Metro Boomin come out with an album, Super Futuristic Summer, whatever it's called, more regional sound. So people are trying to go back to what they know. Obviously, we saw it with Kendrick with GNX and what came out after that with all the West Coast people. And even Joey Badass did it with his album, where he went more New York sounding. It sounded like, I think, Brooklyn, whatever. I feel like Texas, Midwest have always kept their sound. Like Texas is always going to chop and screw your song, bro. So Texas is always able to stick to who they are. Same thing with places like Florida. But I feel like Atlanta has so much impact on like most of the South and a lot of the New York area, West Coast, Midwest. So hopefully we get back to being able to put your culture in your music, your regional culture. Mark says, I think it should go back to its roots. People will then know it's a Black American in origin. And that's another thing. Back to my point I was making about Charleston White. When he came out, when Young Thug first got arrested and he was defending the allegations of snitching and all the other stuff. And I've been saying, I remember when I got a shirt from a friend, maybe when I was in elementary school, maybe 3rd or 4th grade, I remember. And he had, no, I'm lying. I was in the 6th grade. I think 6th grade. And I got a shirt from my friend. It was a shirt, I believe it was a Mano, I think it was. And a shirt said, "Stop snitching." I'm pretty sure y'all, if y'all was into hip hop at that time, y'all remember that whole thing they was doing to stop snitching. So I'm like maybe 8, 9 years old wearing a Stop Snitching shirt to school. And the teacher looked at me and said, "Where did you get that shirt from?" And my friend who had one, I'm like, "We wearing this shirt. He got it for me." She was like, "Why are y'all wearing that?" Like she was so, I didn't realize her confusion because it was like, it's just a shirt. But now that I'm older, why are we at that age pushing that type of messaging is crazy. So Charleston White comes along, he goes viral saying, well, if Young Thug did what he did, he should be in jail. And I agree with that part. We tend to forget what he was accused of. By the way, we also forgot about what we saw on that laptop screen in that courtroom with those naked men. Was that photoshopped or was that real? Because people just forgot about that being the thing, but that's besides the point. But Charleston White, I feel like when he pushed that messaging, it actually helped Gunna when he got out. People liked the music, but also defended, hey man, he ain't no street dude. He just want to make music. Let him out. They defended him. So now Thug has been accused of certain things, and they're holding him to the fire. So are we possibly seeing street culture get ripped away from hip hop as well? Even though that's kind of tough because you look at the first rappers in the 80s and the 70s, 80s, they were being funded by local drug dealers and stuff. They were being funded by street dudes. The labels were being funded by street dudes. So is it possible for us to separate street culture? When I say street culture, I don't mean hood. I don't mean, the neighborhood hood. I mean street, like criminality. Is it possible for us to truly separate that from hip hop? I think we're gonna see it in the next coming years. But there was another clip I don't really care about where he talked about Drake and Metro Boomin beef coming from Drake wanting a song from Metro Boomin, but his mama had passed from a murder. Drake waited 3 weeks and started kind of hounding him to be on the album, and it kind of made them fall out, which is something that Joe Budden said last year, and people said he was a liar, but But that's a whole nother, that's some internal stuff, whatever. But yeah, we'll see what comes of this, because this might just be a rollout for his album. I see Young Thug got an interview coming. It's gonna be viral because people gonna want to hear what he got to say. And Young Thug, especially on them phone calls, is funny. Just the way he's one of those dudes that's funny without being funny because of the way he talking stuff. So it's gonna do numbers and stuff. People are going to want to hear it. So we'll see if this turns into just a clips like rollout for his album where it leads to great numbers for him, or if this leads to a possible downfall. We'll see. Next up, hold on. Speaking of music and hip hop, I don't know if I even got to. I'm pretty sure I did talk about this, but I feel like I didn't. This was from a little while ago, but not too long. Ain't too long ago. Hold on, y'all. BET Hip Hop Awards and Soul Train Music Awards have been suspended indefinitely. I saw this in an interview about Jermaine Dupri, where he said he celebrated this because sometimes you need it's like a parent to a child. Sometimes you need to spank your kid to know they're doing wrong, or they need some level of a punishment so they can be set in order. We've been seeing for the last couple of years, obviously BET in general don't get as much viewership as it once did. Obviously last year it got the most viewership it has in a long time because all the celebrities, not all, but a lot of the celebrities showed up. And then right after that, they suspend, as they called it, the BET Hip Hop Awards and the Soul Train Awards. And there was a lot of people asking questions about, should this be the norm? Do we support this? Should they just make everything into the BET Awards in general? Is there a need to have these separate awards? BET at one point had like 10 award shows. They used to have what's it called? Black Girls Rock. Then they had a whole other award show for women. They had like three award shows for just women in general. They had the Soul Train, the BET Awards, the Hip Hop Awards, and they had another one. I can't remember the name of it. It only lasted like two. They only had like two of them. Now I also noticed. Remember when they were trying to sell BET last year? We kept talking about it with Tyler Perry and them trying to buy it, and they ended up not selling it. Remember in that packaging to buy BET, Paramount was included. Paramount was included. Yeah, Sunday's Best. That's it. Paramount was included with Paramount was included with BET during that attempted sale. Attempted sale, but they separated it. Paramount is now getting, I think they just purchased the UFC for like $7 billion. So obviously Paramount isn't for sale anymore. They now have BET as a separate entity by on its own, and it seems like they're clearly downsizing. Mark says, aren't they swapping BET Awards? But I'm about to get to that, Mark. I got it. And it leads to this: if they're downsizing, then why do we get this here? Hold on. The Caribbean Music Awards announces multi-platform partnership with BET Media Group. So you didn't have the budget or the viewership, whatever it was, to continue the BET Hip Hop Awards and the Soul Train Awards. You decided to suspend it indefinitely, which means you don't know when it's coming back. It may never come back. But you immediately add the Caribbean Music Awards. Now, from a business standpoint, this may be a good idea considering the Caribbean Music Award. I think this is only the third one. So you'll have the entire Caribbean possibly watching this, and you'll have, a lot of the immigrants in America and the, people that support that music here in America. So that may lead to a good viewership number. Who knows? But it does look crazy in the political and social time we're in right now with Black America to platform Caribbean Music Awards after suspending hip hop and Soul Train. That do look crazy. Caribbean Elite Group today announced a landmark media partnership with BET Media Group to broadcast the third annual Caribbean Music Awards on Friday, September 12th at 8 p.m. on BET. As Brooklyn prepares for its highly anticipated Labor Day festivities, the partnership will serve as a official kickoff to an extended weekend of cultural celebration. It's funny. How did Labor Day become about Caribbean celebration, especially in the Northeast? How did that happen? Considering where Labor Day comes from, how did it become about? That's besides the point. Virginia says, so it's true that melanin immigrants are trying to erase and replace American blacks, huh? They not like us. Well, you can't just blame them because this was a deal done by the corporation. So I was going to look up the new CEO of the company is a guy who they said they were going to sell BET to. I don't know if he actually purchased it or not, or if this just a hand over fist type thing, or is it really his, or is Viacom still in control of it, but just letting him run it with full autonomy? I don't know. The milestone marks the first time in the event will air on cable television and underscores BET's Media Group's role as the world's largest media company dedicated to entertaining, engaging, and empowering the Black community while amplifying Black culture across its portfolio of brands. Regina says facts regarding corporations, but they're willingly saying yes. Lord, send me, I'll go. That church song popped up in my head. Caribbean culture represents an essential dimension of Black experience. In the BET Media Group, we remain steadfast in our role as the leading media institution dedicated to amplifying Black culture. Now, they're using that word Black culture here. They know what they're doing. And this also goes back to, we know also, if you go on YouTube now, they have BET International. They have BET Africa. They have BET. So they're trying to branch out to a global, quote unquote, Blackness. Once again, from a business standpoint, it makes sense. But the fact that there's a narrative being seen and kind of being proven that there is an attempt now to take Black American culture and flatten it to make everybody be able to be a part of it. And then you do stuff like this, and this is now your messaging. It kind of proves it right. So I'm pretty sure you're going to see a whole bunch of TikTokers and YouTubers go in on this even more. You're going to make people dig in even deeper at this point. The partnership extends beyond the award telecast, with BET set to live stream red carpet arrivals on BET.com, BET's YouTube, and Facebook, alongside the official Caribbean Music Awards social channels on Thursday, August 28th, live from King's Theater in Brooklyn, New York. In 2025, Caribbean Music Awards will celebrate esteemed voices of the Caribbean with performances by Skinny Fabulous, Lila Aki, Lady Lava, Cranium, Chronic Law, Roman Virgo, Full Blown, Maureen, Koshians. Honors for the night will include Busta Rhymes, Elite Icon Award, Bounty Killer, Karimi. Whatever. No offense, I don't know all these other people. Sure, and I don't know all these other people, but So, celebration of their culture and music. I ain't hating. I think it's just we need to pay attention to this and how much this continues to develop past this year. We'll see. Mark said, just like the video you played last week, the Jamaican woman died. She's not black, but we'll use it when it's convenient. Yeah, that's what kind of what their parents teach them to do. Separate yourself when it's necessary, but when you can benefit on an application or anything political or social, you got to be black. But when it's anything financial or something you could build up individually, say you're immigrant. That has more power in certain spaces in America. So it is what it is. Now I want to show this. Mark says Busta Rhymes is still performing. I thought the concert weren't selling out. Yeah, Busta the last 2 or 3, he had a tough couple of years, man. It don't look too good. But anyway, let me show this here. Because, like I said, people are definitely already talking about it.
This piss color CEO boy, Scott Mills, dumped BET Hip Hop Awards, dumped BET Soul Train Awards, just to replace it with the Caribbean Awards, right?
Question before you get into this. If he added a Caribbean Music Awards, there's a African Music Awards too. I wonder if that's not already platform. I don't know. I wouldn't be surprised in the next coming months he don't do that. Get rid of those 2 shows and replace it with the Caribbean and the African Music Awards. I would not be surprised if that's something he pulled in the next coming months.
This will be the first year that BET will be introducing the Caribbean Awards. The same year they dumped the Hip Hop Awards, same year they dumped. Check this man to see what culture, what's his heritage, what's his ethnicity, and you can't find it nowhere. So I'm just gonna.
Bro, me and Trap been saying the last 4 or 5 years, it's like some of these people have went back and completely wiped the internet from their ancestry. It used to be so easy to look somebody up, and are y'all deleting y'all comments or is YouTube doing it? Because every time a comment is left, it just gets deleted immediately. Some of them. If it's y'all, okay. If it's YouTube, that's kind of crazy. But it used to be so easy to find people's lineage. Now it's not. You can't find it anywhere. Sometimes you look it up. The Google AI tell you Black American or at least American. You didn't look up parents, their lineage, the history. You go to Wikipedia and look up early childhood. Nothing there. It's kind of crazy.
Assume this guy is Caribbean because if you from New York City. You know what I'm saying? If they say you was born and raised in New York City, yeah, you Caribbean or African. Because why would you want to hide your heritage? Why would you not want to reveal your identity, right? So this is what they doing. You know what I'm saying? They're including everybody black but Black American culture. Now, I'm not going to post the dates of the Caribbean Awards because I'm like low-key a hater. Y'all already have the Reggae Festival. Y'all already took over Labor Day. Y'all already took over New York City. And I'm pretty sure you have your own celebrations in the Caribbeans, right? So, yeah, I'm not going to give it any more promotion than what it
Buddy hate hard. Mark says, we are seeing this in Hollywood. They are casting non-Black Americans to play Black American characters. I think they're doing a new movie with not Miles Davis. It's they're doing a few movies with a few musical icons coming up, and they're continuing to choose non-Black Americans to play them at this point. And it's just like it is what it is. And if I'm not, most of these movies don't do well, so I don't understand the purpose of casting these people who don't have an audience. When I was growing up, people were casted for roles if they already had an audience. Unless it was like this film that had certain actors in it that was blockbuster. You introduce new actors through blockbuster actors. They're just taking anybody at this point and just throwing them in movies. And then when the movies don't do well because nobody knows the people in the cast, you expect who the movie is about to sell it. I don't understand the logic behind these movies aren't making money. So you just money laundering at this point. You just creating budgets, making movies you know aren't going to be a profit. Or quote unquote not going to be a profit, and then you take the money that you actually earn from the movie and probably stashing or hiding or whatever. But it's it just comes off like there's an ulterior motive to not just disrespecting Black Americans and not wanting to tell the story through people that come from that lineage, but y'all just stealing money at this point. It's kind of crazy. But what we got? Oh, last week I talked about. I want to make sure I wanted to find this video because I couldn't find it last week. I thought I downloaded it. When I was talking about, and I got to play that video that Regina put out. I'm gonna play that video too, Regina. If I should play it now, let me play it now. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. All right. Let me play this right quick.
Y'all, somebody asked in my last video, why do I have y'all in the dryer? Well, this is the only place I feel like we can talk about our dirty little secrets. Whether it's our family secrets, our personal secrets, or the secrets that this country tries to hide. I'm just in a space where I feel like I'm ready to talk about the things that we sweep under the rug. And I get it, because I can already tell a lot of y'all are not ready for those difficult conversations. Like my last video where I said that we need to blame parents for siblings not talking to each other. Oh, y'all went off on me. And I posted that video over a week ago, and y'all are still going off on me. So if you get easily offended and you see one of these videos come across your FYP and you see that you're in the dryer, just scroll on by. Because on this here page, we are ready.
That's not the right video. Hold on, y'all. Sorry.
Watch Lil.
Y'all, somebody asked.
That's not a video. That's not a video you posted, is it, Regina? I could have sworn it was a video she talking about immigrant parents.
Y'all, as a hyphenated American, I am so glad that we are.
Okay, here we go. Got it now. I'm sorry, y'all. Hold on. Okay.
Y'all, somebody asked in my.
What the? They keep changing the video when I play it. I'm just gonna do it like this.
Y'all, as a hyphenated American, I am so glad that we are finally having a discussion about our immigrant parents and their country as a whole having such a hatred for Black people in America. And what has me in confusion is that they have more hatred for the Black people in America than the colonizers who are back in their country, pushing them out of their country so that they have to come to America to make a whole new life. What's even worse is that they have this hatred for Black people in America. Y'all, as a hyphenated American,
I keep messing up. I'm sorry.
So glad that we are finally having a discussion about our immigrant parents and their country as a whole having such a hatred for Black people in America. And what has me in confusion is that they have more hatred for the Black people in America than the colonizers who are back in their country, pushing them out of their country so that they have to come to America to make a whole new life. What's even worse is that they have this hatred for Black people in America before they even step foot on America's soil. In my opinion, I blame the boomers. The boomer immigrants are just as bad as the American boomers, because truth be told, they are the ones that started the backlash against Black people in America. And they taught and spread that same hatred to their kids and to their families and friends back in their country. Not only that, a lot of them only have friends that are from their country, so they didn't interact with Black people in America. Now look at them. A lot of them are being deported back to the country that they didn't even bother to fix because they had so much hatred for Black people. Y'all, as a hyphenated American, I am so.
Oh man, yeah, this is it's funny seeing it's funny seeing so many people from these backgrounds come out and publicly say these things. Virginia says, okay, you got, okay, that's it. All right. Look, keep laughing. But it's funny to see them get online so much now. And cause they said this loudly on social media up until about 2015, 16. And then we had the entire Biden administration where we were told that was a lie, that they weren't taught this. This is not true. And in the last 2 or 3 years now, they've been admitting, okay, yeah, maybe we did. In the last 1 or 2 years, they've been finally admitting, yeah, there's stuff that was said about y'all, and our parents did teach us certain things to believe about y'all. It is what it is. But now these same people or want their culture to be celebrated on Black American platforms like BET. A platform built on the back of this group. Y'all don't like them, but you want to build your platform on top of it. So it is what. That's when it's not really hate, it's just envy. Then I want to play this because I was talking about the rebranding of Amanda Seales. This is what she rebranded from right here. Let me play this.
Have a whole 15-minute set on stage about this, about God bless you, Ma, about yo, I see you, Ma. You're supposed to be smiling. Women are expected to, the minute we leave the house, we are expected to be smiling and available for whatever men want to say to us. And don't get me wrong, hello is fine. Like, I'm from Grenada in the West Indies. If someone says hello and you don't say hello back, that is actually considered rude. Why
do people from other countries quantify their politeness through being from another country? In what world is it okay amongst any group of people if somebody speaks and you don't say anything, it's not considered rude? Why do you have to say because I'm from another country, it's considered rude to not? No, that's normal. That's a civil society. I hate when they qualify the stuff they say because they're from another country. It's a smack in the face. People say, I wish she would just go away. But she went from a feminist talking head, really, to this pro-Black, anti-government person in the last couple of years. When I would say, I'll give it the last 10 years or so. I'm pretty sure this is way older than this. Is when, like I said, the Spanish or white girl walked through New York for a couple hours, got hit on and claimed it was harassment. And then these Black feminists got behind these other feminists and saying that this should be dealt with societally, calling for retraining, I guess, of Black of men. I'll say men, even though in the video they clearly targeted a certain area. And then when the white women wanted to criminalize it, then the Black women had to back up off of it. Like, oh, we didn't want it to be criminalized. I was like, well, what's your plan? What is your solution? There was no solution. So now the only solution is the one that they had, which is to criminalize dudes for talking to a woman in public. And then you wonder why I see a lot of women say that they don't get approached in public anymore. Well, the better part of the last 10, 15 years, you've been telling people through media that you don't want them to talk to you. You see it in gyms, people exposing dudes in their DMs, all type of stuff. And then when you get approached less, when you get hit on less, you wonder why, because you told society you don't like this. And not only have you told society you don't like it, the men who do it, you shame them publicly. So, yeah. Mark said the same as the McCulkin reality show where the Nigerian mother says she has manners class unlike Black Americans. Exactly. Whenever they say, because I'm from some country, and they say something just common decency, something that's just common decency, it's a slap in the face to Black Americans. I'm not like them. I'm from this small island with less than 1 million people. That's why I'm not rude. It's like, all right, bro. Speaking of rebranding, I want to show this one too. This dude right here, Conscious Lee. Pretty sure you've seen him on social media. He's this radical, left-leaning, progressive, feminist dude. Once again, another person who supposedly was who's an anti-establishment. But now he's making content with people who are in office. Mark Gordon said, this is the Chappelle joke about chivalry being dead because women killed it. Do you have that video? No, I don't have it, but I know exactly what you're talking about. It's coming full force. That was in what, 2001, 2002 when he said that? And look at it now. It's crazy. Let me play this.
And they love
Man, listen, on my mom, I got a lot of other things I want to say and ask, but I'm not going to do it on time. So just right here, just to wrap it up, there's a lot of people in my audience that have kind of lost faith in the Democratic Party uniquely, and they feel a little pessimistic what's going on right now. I know you fighting the fight and you're doing your thing. What would you tell my audience that's kind of losing support or losing hope in the Democratic Party uniquely? Because I feel like it's a lot going on.
I don't think they.
Now, keep in mind, this dude platform is built on being radical, anti-establishment, change. But yet he's trying to get her to convince his audience to believe in the Democratic Party. These are the people who try and make them whose platform get pushed to you as being a possible leader for you. And this is just insane. When is the last time we had a person who actually was respected as a leader who didn't push either side of the aisle when it comes to politics. That's how you know these people are put in front of you. They're not actually organic. Virginia says, have y'all noticed that the immigrants don't recognize themselves or other immigrants like them? And instead, lay all the nonsense on American blacks. Look in the mirror. They're not like us. Okay, it was 04. It probably was. Virginia says, an authentic American knows how to act American. Facts. Mark says, or could he be trying to get with her? Well, that's possible. It's an attractive woman. But he's married. He's married to the white chick, the Spanish or white chick, whatever she is, the Mexican. He's married, so I know they don't really mean that nowadays. People don't respect relationships and marriage at all. They do what the hell they want to do. Anyway.
I don't think we should ever put our faith in man, period. Whether we're talking about
at least she's being calm and normal in this video. Would y'all agree with that?
A party or anything else. Like, that's the first flaw, right? So the thing is, though, you can say that you feel a way about the party, but if the party is made of people and you decide that you are not going to participate, then let me tell you, this party will continue to disappoint you. So I have my own fair share of disappointments. Please believe I have my own fights, but at the same time, I can never side with white supremacists. And I understand that there is no perfection that is walking on this earth, but I need to do my part to see where it is that I fit in.
Better of both, best of two evils. We sick of it. You get in front of this dude platform and say the same regurgitated nonsense we've been saying for the last 60 years almost. Like, enough. Enough. Craig said this said the same conscious Negro that was going in on the black community on behalf of the LGBT community during that pandemic. Yes. This is also the same Negro that was going in on black men when what's her name? The brick lady lied and said somebody said a black man hit her with a brick. Turned out, one, the dude wasn't black American, two, and another thing, the dude didn't hit her with a brick. She's a scammer. This is the same Negro that was going in on black men. Even after he found out that she lied, he was still defending her and going in on talking crazy about black men. But you know, Virginia says, yeah, in the video she has dropped her hood sister act. Keeper said, just wait, because here she go. Girl, shut the fuck up.
Best, and the best place for me is the Democratic Party. It doesn't mean that it's the perfect place, and that's what you have to decide. If you are okay with somebody consistently trampling on you and acting as if you are less than simply because of how God made you, which is to be wonderfully made, to be clear, what they fear is us and our greatness.
So what about negligence? What about a party that constantly promises your people something and doesn't do it? What about all the failed promises? What about that same party also looking down on you, thinking that you're not capable of excellence, so having a lower standard for you? Is that not the same? Is that not worse almost? Why not deal with the people who I know don't like me, but I know we can come to an agreement on this thing right here that can benefit my community? I don't care if you like me. I don't care if you appreciate my existence. Will you just allow me to move how I want to move? That's the point. Keeper says she's gonna start rhyming like she's on the Pope. Oh, she's gonna start doing the amens. Virginia says, if you don't vote for me, you ain't really black. Joe Biden. They voted for him too, man. Crazy.
And so I gotta side with the people that at least are like, all right, fine, you black and we okay with that. I can't.
Yeah, and that's the bigger problem. And I said this last week, and Honorable got to try to get on my ass about it, but this idea, and it ain't just women, this need to be accepted. This extremely low racial self-esteem that we have. Why do you care if these people like you? They have raped, robbed, murdered your people. Why do you care if they like you? Just allow me to build myself up to defend myself from you if you try me. Like, that should be enough.
I can't side with the people that are saying, let me defund the HBCU.
So, one side wants to defund the HBCU. But the other side give little tricklets of money to them. So one side don't want to give you nothing according to you, but the other side give you just enough to keep begging. One side give you enough to keep begging, but you're saying the other side don't want to give you no money. I saw, this was my own two eyes. I saw Trump say, you don't need to keep coming to the White House for this little bit of money here and sign it off. You don't need to keep coming here every year, take a picture with me to beg for this money. I'm just saying. But anyway, Q said, now she making shit up. You know she got to tell a few lies. Mark says that one party won't fight for us and the other party steals from us. Can't win either way. That was a talking point that we was making in the early 1900s. You had a lot of black people just saying, well, you got one party that's racist and you got the other party that don't say nothing about the other party being racist. So both parties are racist. What are we doing? It doesn't matter. Who cares if who cares? They prejudice rate. We don't care. Just allow me to exist in my own way and defend myself from the crazy ones that's willing to try to do something to me. That's all you need. Anyway.
I can't side with the people that are saying, hey, if you get a free lunch in school, never mind, we're going to make sure that the kiddos are not going to be able to eat. I can't side with the people that are okay with increasing the black wealth gap and making sure that it only increases. And so the only...
Well, neither one of them support reparations. So if you don't support that, do you really want to get rid of the racial wealth gap?
Well, we don't believe you. You need more people.
So you're speaking nonsense. We ain't trying to hear none of that.
People that are seeing more money in their pocket are the Elon Musk of the world, who gets $8 million a day, while at the same time telling people they get $6 a day to eat, that's too much, so we're going to take that away from you. And for those kids that are on Medicaid, where you're only getting $10 a day so that kids can be safe, we're going to take away maybe...
And look at this nigga on the back celebrating. Like, man, COINTELPRO, shout out. They won. CIA, they won. We got people. There was a time where if you truly were a leader and all the people who really was about that life got killed. All of them. All the black men and women who were truly about that life for their people are dead. They were killed, smoked, shot. And now these people are in front of us trying to be leaders, and there's no threat on their lives. They're actually making more money than ever. Half of them are millionaires. What happens when the people that's supposed to be the voice for the working class black Americans, the people who are supposedly the center, what happens when the people that are supposed to represent them are millionaires? They're content creators, they're influencers who are millionaires. What does that mean? I'm not saying a person who has a message and the education, ability to articulate and to build an infrastructure for an organization shouldn't be able to profit from it, but damn. What is going on when everybody that's supposed to speak for black people got so much money that they clearly can't relate? They're not radical. They're not revolutionary. They're not. They're not at all. These people running around calling themselves communists and Marxists. They're not at all. They're just academic. They're the academic wealth class. That's all they are. They went to college, got a few degrees, found a way to hustle them degrees that wouldn't make them no money in the market. That's what happened. They turned influencer. Chris says, isn't she herself against reparations? I never heard her say that, but she might be. A great common sense question too. But yeah, anyway, I'm ranting against her at this point.
A combination of $16 a day for you, but hey, my homie Elon, you gonna keep getting your $8 million a day? Like, I can't
Why is Elon the center of this conversation? It shouldn't even be about Elon.
side with that nonsense.
At all.
So my point is this. If you're disappointed, then in my opinion, you're probably paying attention. But you have to decide what you are gonna do with it.
Well, yeah. Wisdom wise men is always going to be angry. When you know what's going on, you're going to be angry. So you're telling those angry people, hey, we know you're disappointed because you're paying attention. And if you're not disappointed because you're not paying attention, so you're admitting that there's a failure here.
That disappointment. You can continue to lose or you can decide to win. And the only way, in my opinion, that you can win is if you decide to be involved. And that means making this party exactly what it should be. But it can't be there without your voice.
But we can create another party with that same voice. Never even gave the option. Now, I get it. She's a part of the Democratic Party. She wouldn't say that, obviously. But the man behind you is supposed to be telling us to start our own party. Oh, this a pack. Damn, something. Anyway. What we got here. Oh, more on him. And then we're going to move to something funny. One more, Mr. Conscious Lee. He did an interview recently with the Fate. I'm not saying his name. I'm not gonna try to say his name. The dude who ran for let me see this. The Democratic Socialist, Omar, the legislator for Minnesota. I think he's Somalian, if I'm not mistaken. He did an interview with Conscious Lee, and he referred to Black Americans, the the Omar dude, the legislator from Minnesota, he used ADOS in place of African American. So he's acknowledging this. And he didn't quite like this. So by the end of the interview, I'm not gonna play the whole interview, but at the end of the interview, he ended up just referring to Black Americans as African Americans, I guess, to make him feel more comfortable. Let me play this here.
I was a community outreach person in a nonpartisan way, talking to folks about not just local candidates, but maybe some of the things on their ballot, like local initiatives, and learning more from communities from like North Side Minneapolis, South Side Minneapolis, whether it's African immigrant, Latino, ADOS communities, all of the above, and just listening to people. And from that, just organizing, and kind of from there, pivoting to like issues-based organizing around education and substance use disorder and things like that, to a senator.
Okay, and doing these efforts, you only cared about Somali Americans, or you cared about all Black people? You know where I'm going with this.
No, absolutely. I know, caring about everyone, and I see it as having an umbrella where we're all Black. Under that is
seeing a Somalian publicly say they're Black is kind of crazy. The way they talk on social media, they be like, "We ain't no monkey. We are not sub-Saharan African. We are Arab." So it's funny hearing one of them say they Black.
ADOS, African immigrants, and then maybe people like me that are neither ADOS or African immigrant. And
so what is he? He's not Black American, but he's not a immigrant. But he's so what is he?
So working towards a goal of caring for communities that have been not only neglected for decades, but for generations, and reversing that generational systemic harm that has been put upon our communities.
Oh yeah, definitely. So when you see some of the dialogue that's going on the internet that I think kind of perpetuates a lot of division, being a person in your position, especially in a community as diverse as Minneapolis, like what do you think is some of the more productive ways to have this conversation in a way that kind of causes that kind of brings us that umbrella for all people of African descent, for all Black people to be able to think about the ways in which our healthcare, the ways in which our labor, the ways in which our housing works?
Well, I would say that both as an organizer and learning more as a senator representing Southside Minneapolis, is that rather than fighting one another over the crumbs or what little has seemed to be dispersed to communities in the past, fighting for more and demanding more.
The same bull. Ever said confused? I don't know. Mark says he's Somali. That's my point. So is he saying right there he's not African, but he's saying he's Black? He said we're all Black, but we're under this umbrella. Then he said an African immigrant or ADOS, and people who like me who are neither. So he's saying he's not an African. People says, isn't he under investigation? I don't know. The only time I seen him viral was when the whites were mad at him for being a Somali and running for office in Minnesota. They was complaining about him being an immigrant. I didn't see an investigation. I wouldn't be surprised. We seen what his old girl going through, or what she went through, should I say? Dre said facts. They call usually call Negroes people Jairs and Abids. Yeah, slave. Don't that mean slave? People said fighting for his community. But yeah, you see, he try to slide that little diss in. People that just want to break these spore wars that exist. What about doing something productive? And then, all right, Negro. What it is. And now I gotta show this because somehow these videos pop up every week. Where it's somebody in a strange environment mimicking something that happens in Black America. Whether it be, I showed y'all the Germans doing gospel. That was kind of, hey, the Germans, was kind of singing. Then you had the Japanese doing step from HBCU culture or band. Now I showed you the Indian singing "I'm a Black nigga." It's always this weird. Somehow, what's considered to be a smaller part, what's supposed to be like subcultures of Black American culture, is just so prominent in other people's everyday pop culture. Keeper says, I'm pretty sure he's under investigation. He's no longer has the accreditation of the Democratic Party. Oh, really? Let me Hold on. Let me just do this right quick. Hold on. Okay, hold on. It says Omar is an American politician and a member of the Minnesota Senate, okay, and a member of the Minnesota Democratic Farmer Labor Party. He represents District 62, which includes parts of the Southwest Minneapolis. And Minneapolis DFL seeks to restore Omar's endorsement for mayor. Oh, somebody, they kind of separate from him a little bit. Now they want to appeal. They revoked his endorsement. Now they want to appeal that. So yeah, it's some scandal stuff tied to him, I guess. Hold on, let me see this. Yeah, he's part of the Democratic Farmer Labor Party. Yeah, I don't see anything about an investigation, at least in headlines yet. But it got to be something. Yeah, let me show this video though. Let me show this.
Na Southside community, EDF roots, young culture. That's how we connect to.
I'm getting New York region from this. Maybe I'm wrong. This is I'm pretty sure this is an Indian woman.
Na Southside community, EDF roots, young culture. That's how we connect to Mother Nature. Here kai valam nambalam kalacharam madinam varam. Yemala sele in the feel pannadu powerful.
Sound like Foxy Brown.
Mama yemala anbu kattna gaya vangi kuduthan jolikkudu en jimiki vambu pannana arki na solluradai vechikko manasula althi. Anbuda mukkiyam mulaiya vechikko palaki na kattiti annaya mane spreading kadal from Madurai city.
Bruh. Oh man. This is crazy. Foxy in West Indies, Foxy is West Indies, and a lot of those people have Indian in them, so that's probably her peoples. That's funny, that was on accident. That's probably her peoples. Or what's up? Nicki Minaj is Indian. I'm pretty sure that Cardi B got some Indian in her somewhere. Most of them Caribbeans is Indian, and normally it's the daddy side, which I find hilarious. West Indian dudes, the so-called Afro-descendant ones, can never bag an Indian woman, I guess, because it'd always be an Indian father. But Gina says that's crazy work. Hey man, she's using that expression for her culture. Smoking, let's show them smoke. All right, man. Craig said they be going in Indians calling them poop jets and all other. Boy, Indians. I'm gonna say this, and this might be considered. People might not agree, but only one group on the internet that might receive a little more racism than Black people, Black Americans in particular. It might be Indians, bruh. The way if an Indian person pop up on somebody's timeline, people just start being racist. They just start talking crazy, call them stank, saying they probably pooping everywhere. How they call them all type of rapists. It's vicious when it comes to them. They don't show no. It ain't no type of like with Black people. When people are racist towards Black people, it's understood that you're going against a social contract. You're not supposed to do this. Even if you do it, you're being, you're going off the Richter right now. You're doing something left. With Indians, it's acceptable at this point. Like anybody can say anything about Indians and no one cares. People just laugh and move on. It's crazy. Mark says, why wasn't Kamala rocking this when she ran for president? This could have been her end. This could have been it. She could have represented her Indian and Jamaican heritage. Craig says, I agree with that dude. They be doing Indian dirty. Hey, man, I ain't defending them because they be saying some stuff too. I ain't forget what they did a few years ago when old buddy said there was a picture of some Indians in a picture. and a black American dude said, "I know it smelled crazy in there." And when he said that, black people got caught off guard. It was just a big giant audience of Indian people started roasting, going in on black Americans. But nobody knew what was going on because this dude said it on his own. We didn't know there was an internet war going on. So black people just caught off guard, like, what's going on? They was on black Americans' ass for about 2 days, maybe more. They kind of got us with that one. And since then, I've been seeing every couple of months, there's some black American trying to bait these people into another internet war. They won't do it though. Every couple of months, somebody will tweet or put a message on social media. I know it smelled crazy in there, and nobody will say nothing. They caught us off guard one time, and they won't give us a rematch. It's crazy. Virginia says, "I'm stunned to realize that America is less influenced by Europeans, but instead immigrants from every nation." Where's Waldo American? The UK. If you look up UK dishes and what's considered their culture, a lot of it is immigrants. Like I remember when Keith Lee did his food, his food tour, and he went to the UK, and he went and ate actual British European food, and it was like that looked nasty. And they kept telling him to go to the Jamaican restaurant, go to the African restaurant, go to that Caribbean restaurant, go to that Arab restaurant, go to that whatever Eastern European restaurant. Like they're not really known for they're known for bread when it comes to food. They're not known for being if you look at the dress code of like the UK and certain other places, it's very, it's just different. It's just different. But anyway, let me get this woman off my screen. She gonna get signed, by the way. If hip hop keep going where it's going and don't fix itself, she gonna get signed. They can start pushing her as the biggest artist in the world. Look, India got a couple billion people. She could be the biggest artist in the world. But and I gotta talk about this a little bit. I just find this hilarious. I'm sorry. He's still trying. Some people just, it's a dud. Like they don't know it's over when it's over. So they just keep trying and it ain't gonna work. Craig says, yeah, Indians ain't no different from white, Spaniards, Asians, or any other group. That's why I be laughing at them too. Yeah, I be laughing at them, but they do be going in on them. But yeah, and it's funny how much they hate Pakistani people. And they pretty much the same group, separated by just a border. Virginia says, media equal myths, exaggeration, deception, delusions, aspirations. Yeah, exactly. Let's get to this. He trying for a second time, y'all. The first time it happened too quick and nobody believed it. Cory Booker announces engagement to girlfriend Alex Lewis in speculation about 2028 presidential run. We've seen what happened with the last girlfriend he popped up with, celebrity girlfriend. And people were like, out of the blue, out of nowhere, get out of here, man. Nobody believed that was a real relationship. And then as soon as they broke up, I think she went and got a girlfriend. So, yeah. New Jersey Senator Cory Booker announced his engagement to girlfriend Alex Lewis this week, telling reporters he surprised her with his proposal in Hawaii. Booker, 56, sought the Democratic presidential nomination in 2020 in his record-setting 25-hour Senate speech warning that the country is in a crisis. Earlier this year sparked talk of another potential presidential run in 2028. Cory Bussey is engaged. How nice. Hey, man, he trying for it again. As you can see, this is him and his lady now, his lady friend. This is the pictures he posted on his social media. That like bruh, no one laughs that way. No one. But yeah, congratulations to him, I guess. Now, to the actual point being made, I said it in 2020. I want to say, I don't know if it's true or not. That may have been the most people I've ever seen run for office that were single. And I said then that was going to be a culture shock because that wasn't, even then when you talk about corporate America and business, when you are a person who wants to do real big business or run for office and be a public figure, being a single man or woman doesn't work well. And then with women, if you don't have children, it's even worse. If you're a man with a fiance with no kids, all right, you might make it. But if you're a woman with no children, not married, running for office, especially the Republicans, how many single Republican women with no children are running for office is crazy. And it's not speaking on the women who obviously can't have children. I'm just women who are able and not having children at 40 in politics, unheard of. But now he realized this because we knew it back then. You're not winning office as a bachelor. That for America at least. Other countries do it. There's some of these countries with their prime ministers and they do it. They allow a bachelor or a woman who's a single woman to run around the clubs and stuff and be the leader of their country. In America, that's just not going to work. We've had scandal in the White House from married men. So what's you think going to happen with a man who's actually single? The president of the country being a single man, what you think going to happen? But anyway, Virginia says she kind of favors the last girlfriend, Rosario. Yeah, he had to find another Spanish beard. Shout out Kiefer. Even though I don't think she's Spanish, she seems like she's I don't know the term for Hawaiian. What's the word? Samoan. If she's not Samoan, I don't know. Just looking at her, she seems Samoan, maybe Spanish. I don't know. Maybe she's from Chile. Mark says these pictures look like they belong in a JCPenney magazine cover. That's how you know it's a photo shoot. And it's not a photo shoot for a man proposing to his lady. It's a man proposing for a political ad campaign. Craig says the Republican man too busy searching for hookups on the Grindr app. Hey, it's kind of funny how much often that happens on that side. Also, do we forget about he was on the Democratic side, I think, who recorded himself laying up with having a intercourse in the political, whatchamacallit? That he leaked the video and everything. Why? It's been a crazy 10 years where you don't feel like it's been 10 years. I saw somebody say that a dude posted a video saying that a lot of people, we don't realize we're suffering from the COVID pause, where a lot of people who were 27 years old when COVID first dropped, 2020, now they're over 30 and it don't feel like it because your life is paused. Time just seems all over the place now. You forget what happened just 2 years ago. It seemed like it was either way sooner or way later. Mark says Pacific Island. Oh, she's Pacific Islander. Okay. All right. She looks Filipino. Yeah. Ain't he from Jersey? You couldn't find a woman from New Jersey, a black woman from New Jersey to be his presidential beard. You need to go get something, what they call exotic, ethnic, another ethnic to do it. But, speaking of this, the Epstein thing, not going to stay on this too long. It's just getting to a point now where things are looking weird. Let me play this right quick. The Epstein victims came out with a press conference saying that they're going to release their own names. I'm going to say that again. The Epstein victims said they're going to release their own names in a press conference instead of just releasing the names. Am I being off by saying that seems strange? Considering the names that's supposed to be on this list, seemingly some people on that list supposed to be powerful, why would you announce to the world, I'm going to tell you who was on the Epstein Island, instead of just doing it? Because now you give people a chance to not just prepare, to possibly do something to you. We just seen what happened with Epstein. We don't believe the official story. So why would you? Anyway.
And let me announce now, several of us Epstein survivors have been discussing creating our own list of names. We know the names. Many of us were abused by them. Now, together as survivors, we will confidentially compile the names we all know were regularly in the Epstein world. And it will be done by survivors and for survivors. No one else is involved. Stay tuned for more details on that. Because history is watching, and so are the women who will come after us. Thank you. No
offense, this don't seem smart. I don't want to say anything disparaging about them, but this just seems dumb to announce this. Why would you announce this? It seemed like this was more so to garner more, I hate to say it this way, it seemed like this was done to garner more attention. Are y'all gonna flip this into like some type of podcast or a book? Because if you're just gonna release names, then what's the point of? Anyway, Akiba says it'll go nowhere. They better watch out for the Clintons. The Clinton body count, it doubles every year. Virginia says I don't mean no harm, but no one to no one. But when I first saw this, I thought duck caused ping. Craig said, "Oh boy, yeah, I don't know what this was about. Like I said, if they're gonna flip this and trying to make some money, which, like I said, I'm not trying to speak badly about them. If they're gonna try and make a profit out of this, they should. Hey, if you can make some money off of something that happened to you, do it. Especially if you're not actually able to go after the person that did it. They can flip this into some bread for themselves, I guess, but it don't make sense to announce this publicly. It just doesn't make sense. Watch your back, protect your neck, ladies. What we doing? Oh, quick on this. The woman who's the governor of Virginia, and her race, she's not looking too good. Last time I saw a poll, the Democratic woman was in the lead as far as the polls. We can't believe all the polls. This is the immigrant woman who was talking crazy. They do the same thing. Oh, my parents came here with $1.04 in their pocket with some lint and was able to start a business and all the other stuff. She looks like she might not win, but certain language was used and it's been called a racist attack against her. Republicans resurfaced anti-trans attacks in the closing stretch of the Virginia governor's race, drawing on the GOP's 2024 playbook. Winsome Sears is attempting to put the culture war issue at the center of her campaign against Democratic Abigail Sperringer. But that's not even the bigger point. The former, the founder and former owner of BET has came out in support of her. He said longtime Dem donor doles out money to back GOP nominee after racist attacks. He said a longtime Democratic donor publicly displayed his support for Republican Virginia gubernatorial nominee Winston Sears' campaign following a racist attack on black GOP candidate during a protest outside of school board meeting on August 21st. Robert Johnson, co-founder of the Black Entertainment Television and chairman of asset manager RLJ Companies, contributed $500,000 to Earl Sears' campaign. A Politico's Playbook reported on Friday, Johnson, one of the United States' first black billionaires, said he decided to donate to her campaign to stand with the lieutenant governor against a racist attack on her campaign. Madam Lieutenant Governor, I was so appalled by the racist diatribe displayed by a useful idiot at a recent press event that I chose to show all the voters of Virginia how black brothers stand up to defend and support their black sisters when confronted with unadulterated racism. Johnson wrote to Earl Sears in a statement provided by the GOP nominee campaign, have always been a good investor and why I'm investing in you. Johnson previously donated to former Democratic Virginia Governor Tim, who failed to win a second term against current Republican, Glenn Youngkin in 2021. He also supported former Secretary of State Hillary Clinton 2016 presidential campaign. What do you think about that? Him deciding to possibly, by the way, I always say this, billionaires don't have politics or borders. They have investments and interests. Regardless of what race they are, they're going to do what's best for them. Now, I don't know if this has anything to do with him possibly gaining something from this. I don't know. Maybe he truly just don't like how she was treated in that situation. There may be some type of background with this. But him doing this pissed some people off because, the former co-founder of BET is now funding a campaign from a candidate that can be considered have said things that may be considered anti-black American. Maybe that's a reach. But it kind of just shows, it's all about green at the end of the day. Abigail is hiding from voters because she sold out to extremist nonsense. Chris says, aren't those the same Negroes always yelling racism doesn't exist? Exactly. So racism doesn't exist, but now I don't know about him, Robert Johnson. I don't know if he's ever said that. But she's one of those people that has said, this country has come a long way and that's not a real problem nowadays. Because the comment that they're talking about that was racist, let me show it before I get out of here. This right here.
I reached
This is what.
out to Democratic gubernator.
Here you go.
And blacks.
This is the sound they were talking about. Hey, Winston, if trans can't share your bathroom, then blacks can't share my water fountain. Now, these are the liberals. These are the liberals saying this. And I said this a while ago when I was talking about how the trans people talk about black women. But a transgender person will say very loudly, if they aren't considered women, then black women can't be considered women either. Which is just, these are supposed to be the progressive left, the nice party, as they call it, the nice side of politics. And they be saying crazy stuff like that. So that's apparently the reason why he funded the campaign, because he felt that was a racist thing to say. So it may be just as simple as that. He ain't like that messaging. He don't support certain agendas they pushing, so he decided to put a couple dollars behind her to help her win. And maybe he's standing on we black. I don't care if I disagree with you. Virginia says, only difference between red and blue is the purple, meaning they the same races. Exactly. What else? Oh, yeah. This right here. I'm probably going to end up saving this again. I don't know if I want to talk about this again, because this is very serious. I'm going to do it. Forget it. I'm going to do it. Let's do it now. Survivors Cold War era experiments on black St. Lucians, is how you say it, speaks out in documentary. There's a documentary done about a apparent experiment that was done on a black neighborhood in the 1950s during the Cold War. And they did it in the 60s as well. There are many residents of the poor housing projects nearby North St. Louis neighborhoods witnessed something strange for a few years in the 1950s and then again in the 1960s. Men in protective suits regularly sprayed a mysterious mist into the air from the tops of the buildings and spouts attached to vehicles driving through the predominantly black neighborhoods. The U.S. government released documents in 1994 revealing that it has been sprayed zinc sulfide and a toxic substance in St. Louis and other cities as part of a military experiment. Hey, every year we find out how evil and wicked these people is. It's just, good Lord. Like, just when you think it can't get any worse. Every year we find out a new experiment, a new hidden secret agenda they had, a new plot. And now they wonder why people just hate them. Regina says, did y'all see the video of Kelly Price going off on black women? Only to share that she grew up in the south side of Jamaica. Nothing to see here. They not like, Kelly Price is Jamaican? Hold on. No. Okay, no. She's not Jamaican, but she was born and raised in south side of Jamaica, Queens. Okay. What she say about black women? Yep, she said so in her rant. Well, it's saying here that she's not Jamaican, but she grew up in Jamaica, Queens, the south side of Jamaica, Queens. Same place 50 Cent grew up. What was she saying about black women? What's up with these singers going in on black women? It was what's her name? Moni Love a few months ago said the only group of people that hate her is black women. Or should I say don't like her is black women. But this is obviously not the first time they did. We always hear about the experiment done with the Tuskegee experiment. It is Southside Jamaica, Queens, which is in New York. Yeah. That's what I just read. Yeah, I don't know if she just said she's not Jamaican. That would have been surprising. But in this, the U.S. government released documents in 1994 revealing that it had been spraying zinc. I just read that. A study commissioned by the Army 3 years later asserted that the experiment did not harm and the health of people in St. Louis, though no thorough analysis of chronic health problems among the people who lived in that area has been conducted. Many St. Lucians subjected to the experiment have long suspected that it made them sick. Lisa Taylor, now an associate professor of Southern Illinois University, Edwardsville, published research in 2012 suggesting that the government may have added a radioactive agent to the chemical compound. Let me say this too. When I was a kid, we lived in a neighborhood where every summer a truck, and I'm pretty sure this might have happened in places y'all live, but we was in the hood. A truck would drive through the neighborhood with a hose pipe in the back, like a big hose, like they described here in this article. And it would push out this mist. And when people asked what it was for, they said it's for mosquitoes. We were told that they were spraying this agent or this mist or whatever it was, this substance. They were spraying this. We outside sitting on the porch and they're just spraying it. And when people asked about it, they said, oh, it's to stop, it's mosquitoes. They're calling the mosquitoes down. But every single time they would spray this stuff, my mom would say, the mosquitoes get worse. So how is it for mosquitoes if it's getting worse? Now, I don't know what it was. I was like 6, 7 years old at the time. Nobody knew what they were doing, what this was they were spraying. I'm not saying it was this or some experiment was done on or done on us, even though we are right down the street from what was formerly known as Fort Bragg. So I don't know. But when I hear stuff like this, I keep remembering what happened when I was a kid in my neighborhood, and it just, you know. Virginia said Jamaica Queens, she didn't specifically specify in her rant, so I thought she meant Jamaica. I stand corrected. Well, that's what it says on the whatchamacallit. But if she says is she saying that she got her her dignity or self-respect from being around Jamaicans and Jamaica Queens, that's just as bad. You may as well be Jamaican. Craig says they did everything they could to get black people off the map. Everything. They tried their hardest. When people talk about black Americans and what is their culture, it's resilience. You're not supposed to, I keep saying, you're not supposed to survive what happened to black Americans. Your population is supposed to shrink, not grow. They've pushed everything they can on you to exterminate you. And somehow, well, we know how, the Most High, you can't be destroyed. You get, it's a lot of bending, but ain't no breaking. It's a lot of bending. It's a bend, but it won't break you. But now these people in this documentary should expect some type of restitution for this. And there should be something done about this, but we know here in America, they'll tell you to get over it and move on. Nothing happened. They won't give a full investigation into this, and you will not get any justice. So, yeah. This is just other cases of this. In 1950, the U.S. released a bioweapon in San Francisco. This one of hundreds of bioweapons simulations carried out in the 1950s and 60s. Yeah, that's another thing. The 1950s and 60s, which was during the you could say the height or the start of the Black Panther movement. You could say that it was the start of the civil rights in the 40s. So the first wave going into the second wave of the civil rights movement. So at the height of that, there was all these experiments and bioweapons being placed in black communities around the country. We already know they had a whole government a plan with COINTELPRO and all the stuff they was doing with that, all the COINTEL they was doing. So another thing that was going on during that time was the perception of black men in particular being painted as violent. And I'm gonna get to that later. We're gonna get to that right now with the Trump situation and the National Guard. Let me show this right quick. I don't know if this is actually what this video is about, but they said this video is a video of some group of white teens trying to push a black teen into a meat grinder. They didn't succeed, but this was attempted hate crime. I'm not going to play it all, but as you can see, because YouTube are black, because these are teenagers. They got into a whole fight. They jumped them. And then they tried to call him the N-word while doing this. And they tried to throw him into a meat grinder at a party. At a what they call it, a party. I forgot the name of it. The barn party. That's what it is. Now I keep saying this. Why do so many black people put themselves in this position? I'm not saying this is just only something that can happen when you're around other races. Obviously, that's not true. You should always be aware of your surroundings. You got to have discernment. But if you are outnumbered You have to be careful. Now, this is just a teenage kid, so I'm not placing the blame on him in this situation. But we see this happen with adults. Yeah, a rave. Yeah, rave. But I think this is in a barn. This is supposed to be some type of horse and some type of farm thing. So I think it's a barn party is what they actually called it. But when I see adults go through things like this, I just think y'all let y'all guard down around people too much. And I'm gonna say this: I am more of a homebody. I tend to stay to myself. So I stay to myself. So I just don't be around people like that. But you have to be careful if you decide to go outside and be around strangers when drinking is involved, drugs is involved, and especially when you talking about another race, because things come out when people get drunk. Keep his head. Chris said, "Hoot nanny." I ain't never seen that word spelled out in my life, by the way. Hoot nanny. But yeah, hopefully they find who did this and he gets some type of justice for this. It went viral. People are talking about it. I couldn't find no article on it. And typically when I can't find an article on it, it's not real. I'm not going to say that's fake, but when I can't find an article, it's typically not real. Growing up in Seattle, I've been in all white spaces and thought if they tried something, I'd be cooked and nobody would know. It reminds me of that it was a viral picture of a black woman at like a sleepover with a group of white women. And it wasn't just white, I think it was white men there too, but it was a group of white people they was at a sleepover. They're all in their pajamas, sitting around drinking wine. And then it turns out in the story that woman somehow drowned or died or something. And nobody knows how that happened. To this day, it still haven't been, they said it was some type of accident happened. And we don't know how this woman passed away. We've seen stories of black men going on hunting trips with a group of white people, pop up missing. And then people say, where are they? Nobody has an answer. I remember a story a few years ago, like this is like 2016, of a young teenage black boy from Texas going to, he went to France or Italy, one of those. And he went to a bar, right? And he was a teenage kid, just graduated high school. His parents paid for a trip for him to go overseas as part of a, celebration, a gift. Black kid, parents black. And he went with his white friends. It was a white girl and a white dude that went with him. I don't know if they were siblings. The white people were siblings. He went on the trip. He gets into a bar fight with a Eastern European dude. He's talking to a girl. The Eastern European dude walk up on him and say something. I think he pushed him or something. The black kid grabs a bottle, hit him over the head to defend himself. He's squabbling. And I think it was 4 Eastern European. I don't know if they were Albanian. I don't know. 4 or 5 of them jumped him and killed him. Right? Now, his 2 Caucasian friends just so happen to not be around. They don't know what's going on. They just come home, tell his parents what happened. And the video comes, everything. It's like, what is going on? How do you even allow somebody to go somewhere by themselves? And then when you show up later than you were supposed to, it's just a situation where you have to be careful with who you call friends. You have to be careful with your social circles you go into. And as Kiefer said here, when you get uncomfortable, leave. It don't matter if you thought, she's cool, he's cool, but there's about 4 other ones. I don't know them. They've been drinking. A certain energy is coming from them. It's getting weird. It's not even aggressive. It's just weird. Just leave. Just leave. Regina said, I look for the exit signs in main streets just in case. Grace says, black people always be the ones yelling out, no lacking, but I always get caught lacking. Facts. Mud, we created the whole term of not getting caught lacking. We created that term, and then you get caught lacking. Keeper says, praying before you enter certain spaces is a good idea. People lack discernment. Yeah, exactly. Definitely. Definitely. And I want to show this too. I want to show this, the fall of this culture. I love these white dudes is hilarious. So you can see here on ESPN, there was a segment done where a black man commentator, Ryan Clark, former NFL player, he said, I don't think Tom Brady, I don't think Drew Brees, I don't think Peyton Manning are generational talents. Now, just off of that sentence, I know what he's saying. He's saying that talent-wise, they weren't that great. They simply achieved greatness, but their talent wasn't that great. What are you trying to say? They got mad. The whites got mad. And And look at this white dude say. He said, "Dear white man, stop caring about football more than your own people. You are being genocided off this earth. Black people will still be fast after you take your countries back. You are not missing anything. You are distracting yourself from your Jewish prison. Now, keep in mind, a lot of these so-called right-winger Nazi dudes blame Jewish people for everything, which is crazy. But this dude right here, he did a response to him with this. He said, white nationalists love sports until black people started dominating. I said this before with hockey. Black people was playing hockey in the 1800s. Matter of fact, it was invented by black people in Canada. The slapstick, all those moves they do, it was black people that invented that stuff. Baseball. There were black people playing baseball in the 1800s. Jackie Robinson was not the first black man to play baseball. That was all narrative. It was black people in baseball in the 1800s. And then they kicked them out. And then they brought in the Hispanics, particularly the Dominicans and the Puerto Ricans, and then they started letting the Negroes in with Jackie Robinson because the Negro League was becoming a threat. So it's nothing new for them to do this stuff. In the 1904 Olympic Games in St. Louis, Americans went to Congo and abducted pygmy tribesmen, brought them to America, and forced them to compete against the top white athletes in an effort to prove the superiority of the white race. We also saw that with the Olympics with Hitler, how he thought them Germans were going to win and they got washed by the black people, and he didn't want to respect that. In the early 20th century, race scientists argued that whites had advantages in athleticism due to their optimal body proportions, which we know that's not true. Black people typically known for having longer legs, shorter torsos, longer arms that build for that's better proportions for athleticism. Germany's dominance in the 1936 Berlin Olympics was held as proof of Aryan racial superiority. Now, all of a sudden, sports are a Jewish ploy to distract the white masses from their alleged genocide. Oh, man. Which is funny because white men in particular, white people are having the best 5-year impact in sports they've had in 30, 40, 60, 70 years. You got the white dude, Luka Doncic in the NBA. You got the new dude. The new rookie number 1 overall pick was a white male American. That ain't happening forever. A white male being drafted number 1 in the NBA draft. That was crazy. The WNBA, they got a bunch of white girls running around playing basketball, being the best, not the best, but being reported being respected for their play. White people are having their best time in sports right now. Y'all should be living it up right now. The fact that you want them to stop is crazy. You better enjoy this short period. We'll see what happens in the next 10 years, but it's been a good 5 years for y'all, honestly. These days, my family agrees to track each other without our phones. Word is nuts, and be too careful. Virginia says, yes, but you're pointing out it took them over 40 years or so to show up as good. Left my ass on. Mark says, a white CB made it. A white cornerback just won a Super Bowl. He wasn't the only reason, but he was a big part of a Super Bowl win as a white cornerback. So people who don't watch sports, a cornerback in the NFL, cornerback might be the most athletic player on the field. You could say wide receiver, running back, maybe pass rusher, and maybe linebacker. But number 1 is probably corner. You got to be fast, quick twitch. You got to be able to have high reaction. All those things that are normally lead towards black people. So a white corner that plays for the Eagles, a white corner that plays for the Eagles, it's a different world. We're in a different world. Now, white safeties, I think there was a white safety that played for the Vikings. Last time I really kept up with NFL. I forgot his name, who was considered one of the best safeties in the league. But yeah, that's not typical. Oh, and a white running back. What's the white dude name that played running back used to play for the Panthers, now he played for the San Francisco. We got a white running back. What are we talking about? Who was considered one of the best in the league for a couple years. Craig says, having the best time, but still worried about black people. Typical. Well, you could also say that CMC, Christian, I forgot his name. His father was an athlete too, though, so that's a little bit different. Craig says, having the best time, but still worried about black people. Typical. Well, they worried about power. That's the difference. That dude is worried about power. He know they're losing power in the world, so gaining some level of esteem in sports ain't really worth it. Virginia says, in my humble opinion, the whites are clones that are doing this. They clone Tyrone fakes. There was a white dude like 2 years ago, a year ago. He might be still running. He was in high school. Who was track star. Who was like one of the fastest in the country. A white dude. Gordon, he just got injured. Might be out for the season. Ah, damn. McCaffrey. Christian McCaffrey. That's his name. So yeah, the white athletes the last 5 years, they're in their prime. They're having a good 5 years, getting drafted high, being all-stars and all-pros and considered some of the best at their position. That ain't happened since 80s, 70s. Because I ain't counting Steve Nash and all that other stuff. Maybe Dirk Nowitzki for the power forward for the Dallas Mavericks might be the last great white in sports, particularly basketball, football. Because when you're talking about baseball and stuff, that's as that black dude said who played for the Pirates. He said baseball is a white man's sport. They were mad. He said, ain't nobody black playing it because it's a white man's sport. They got mad. It's crazy. All right. Last tab we're going to get to. This is something I wasn't talking about last week, but I decided to push it off till this week. Mark said by trying to hold us back, they end up holding themselves back. Yeah? Yeah. Now we got to get to this. We got to address this. We got to address this. The president could learn a lot from us. Black mayors ripped Trump for targeting them in violent crime crackdown tirade, and he got it all wrong. I'm going to start by saying that every last one of these, not every last one, but majority of the mayors you see on your screen right now, during the COVID lockdowns were the main people complaining about crime, smash and dash, all that stuff that was going on. They were the main ones complaining and asking for help for the government for the crime going on. So now that Trump is saying he's going to send a National Guard to these places, now they're saying, we don't need your help. They're hiring more police officers. Even though we talked about it before, Baltimore has had the lowest crime it's had in a while. Chicago's murder rate has dropped the lowest it's been since like 2012 or 9 or something like that. And most crime in general has dropped since the 9th. Oh, they all man. Mystery man. I just caught what you did. They all man. Most crime has dropped since the 80s, 90s, crack era, obviously, when the gang wars and stuff was rampant. Most crime is nowhere near that. But they still sell crime. We're in the law and order era now with Trump. And the same thing they did back in the 50s and 60s, that same law and order message and the criminalization of black communities and stuff, we see Trump doing it now. Craig Counsel, they don't want their illegals to get deported. That too. But there's another thing I want to get to. A more intercommunal problem that I got to get to. Let me play what Trump said first. Let me play this.
The Guard has done such an incredible job working with the police, and we haven't had to bring in the regular military, which we're willing to do. We have to. And after we do this, we'll go to another location and we'll make it safe also. We're going to make our country very safe. We're going to make our cities very, very safe. Chicago's a mess. You have an incompetent mayor, grossly incompetent.
That I agree with.
And we'll straighten that one out probably next. That'll be our next one after this. And it won't even be tough. And the people in Chicago, Mr. Vice President, are screaming for us to come. They're wearing red hats, just like this one.
They're talking about the Red Party in Chicago. I know about them. There's a woman who's associated with it. She's a fitness trainer, and she had that viral picture she took with the dude. Nice looking woman.
But they're wearing red hats. African American ladies, beautiful ladies, are saying, "Please, President Trump, come to Chicago, please."
Let me play that again.
American ladies, beautiful ladies, are saying, "Please, President Trump, come to Chicago, please." I did great with the black vote, as you know, and.
All right, enough. Let me ask y'all a question. Why do you think Trump focused on quote unquote black ladies asking for help in these communities, these black communities? I said before, historically, the main way one culture tries to get over on another is to try and turn the women against the men that they are in the community with. Convince you they're as much of a threat to you as other groups, other outgroup men. So when he decided to pinpoint and focus on that, people were asking, why did he just say black people? Why did he focus on the ladies? Mark said that man is physically deteriorating right before our eyes. Yeah. You see, people thought he was dead over there a couple of days ago. And they was on social media throwing food on the grill, all type of stuff. They can't stand this man, boy. Virginia says the video notification popped up today for Jimmy Dore charging that Trump is a former CIA op. Yeah, I saw that. They saying that during his Epstein stuff, he was working for CIA. I don't know. I also showed y'all he was dealing with Roy Cohn, and he was dressed like a Roman soldier with some makeup on, so he might have been doing it with him too. Who knows? Wiretap. People said, did you see the Trump administration is going to offer Eric Adams a place in administration if he drops out? Yeah, for housing. But they always put Negroes over housing, so I believe it. And apparently the Republicans may go after Cuomo. We'll see how that goes. So, but yeah, to this, when Trump decided to allow the take over the streets of DC, the crime drop, people on the street getting accosted, or if you want to call it that, people getting questioned, wasn't necessarily checking their pockets or nothing, but it was, So if you see this right here, this is the mayor of the area. He said, as Trump's DC takeover nears an expiration date, the mayor orders a continuation of his efforts. I talked about this woman 4 years ago, but I don't know what we talked. Every time I bring her name up, I forgot what we talked about with her initially when we first brought her up. There was controversy surrounding her. She's not well liked, I guess. And now, while you got a lot of Republicans that are left-leaning people who are attacking Trump for sending the National Guard to his neighborhood, she's one of the few, along with one of the other dudes, a black dude, black mayor, Willie, who's asking for Trump to also send National Guard to his city. She's defending it. She's saying she wants it to be extended and is helping because these people aren't just patrolling the streets. They're helping pick up trash. They're doing odd jobs and stuff for the city. It's helping. It's a labor force we're gaining. Virginia said many of these cities have black women mayors, so he's all over the place. Mark says Trump put former surgeon over housing in his first term. Yeah. What's his name? I get him confused with the dude who passed away from COVID. It was two black dudes in his administration. One passed from COVID. I can't remember his name. Yeah, he put him over housing. He's a doctor, brain surgeon. One of the first ones, prominent, one of the most influential, iconic black men in history when it comes to medicine. And he put him over housing. Herman Cain's the one who passed. I'm talking about the other one though. Put him over housing. It's like, all right. People don't like her over COVID vaccine mandates, I believe. No. It was something before that I want to say, but maybe you're right. Regarding black women, it's like he's tenderizing them before the kill. Well, historically, the era we in now, a lot of the academic feminist talking points are mainstream. Like every day you go on social media or sometimes in real life, you'll hear certain things said by people who may not even know where it came from. And they don't know historically what this meant. Like when you say the term toxic masculinity, that is not new. That is a term that was used by really racist whites who were making black male masculinity toxic. That's what that was referred to. So now when you see these feminist women, particularly black women, using this language, you can't be surprised by some of their other viewpoints. I mean, you talk about the Michelle Wallace and the Walker and those type of people. A lot of their writings, you can put it right next to the Birth of a Nation talking points and it just blends. It's just like, so when you see Trump come out and say, these black ladies are calling for help, well, who's the threat? He don't have to say it. Who is the threat? Ben Carson. That's it. Thanks, Mark. Ben Carson, one of the most iconic people in medicine, even though some people believe that he didn't actually do the surgery, but we're not going to take it away from him. History recognizes him as the person. And they had him on housing. Just like our new puppy is doing me. Tenderizing you. So she wants it to continue, right? Let me play this here.
We greatly appreciate the surge of officers that enhance what MPD has been able to do in this city. The most significant thing that we are highlighting today is the area of crime that was most troubling for us in 2023. Now, we have driven it down over the last years, but I'm going to get my glasses so I can make sure I can see it correctly. But for carjackings, the difference between this period, this 20-day period of this federal surge and last year represents a 87% reduction in carjackings in Washington, D.C. We know that when carjackings go down, when the use of gun goes down, when homicide or robbery go down, neighborhoods feel safer and are safer. So this surge has been important to us for that reason.
Now, we're going to get to what numbers mean and how numbers can be skewed. Matter of fact, have you ever watched the TV show The Wire? They had a whole season dedicated to the police chief, based off the mayor's desire, wanting to simply get the numbers a certain number. We want this many arrests. We want this many cases. We want this many people locked up for this amount of drugs, so that I can go in front of the citizens on TV and tell them this is what we've done. Where it was never really about actually keeping the people safe. It was about making the numbers look good. But this right here, 58 shot over Labor Day weekend in Chicago as governor rejects Trump threat to send National Guard. At least 58 people have been shot, 8 fatally across Chicago over Labor Day weekend, including a drive-by attack that left 7 victims wounded, according to police. The violent holiday weekend came as President Donald Trump renewed threats to send federal agents and National Guard troops to Chicago over the objections of Illinois Governor J.B. Pritzker and Chicago Mayor Brandon Johnson. Chicago is the worst, most dangerous city in the world by far. Well, numbers say it's actually Memphis, but yeah, Pritzker needs help badly. He just doesn't know it yet. I will solve the crime problem. Well, should I say it's Memphis in America at least. I will solve the crime problem fast, just like I did in D.C. Chicago will be safe again and soon, Trump wrote on social media platform on Tuesday, pointing out the gun violence in Chicago over the holiday weekend, repeating an earlier suggestion the federal intervention is needed to combat crime. Trump, is he gonna get them off your ass for them Jeffrey Epstein files, buddy? But we're gonna get into this too. Virginia said, gotta watch The Wire. Been watching the old series 24 of late with Southern. Okay. So, and I want to show this right here.
How y'all doing today?
This is just them walking around the city while people on their porch chilling.
No, I live right here. Okay, cool.
It's a cigarette. Did y'all get a call or something about right here?
No, so we're doing checks, keeping everybody safe down here, right? Have you heard of the federal surge that Donald Trump's putting out?
No.
Right. You don't follow like Code 3, anything like that people are putting up? All right, so yeah, Trump's got all federal agencies kind of coming together for 7 days and going out, trying to stop the violent crime, all kind of stuff. So we're out here contacting people, talking to them, right? Quality of life offenses, smoking, drinking in public, right? Can't happen outside, right? Most people know that. Right? So we're contacting people, trying to advise them of the law so they learn, right? And then
drinking in public, I get it, but I can't drink in public on my porch. I can't drink in public outside my house.
And if there's other stuff going on where it turns.
All right, so y'all get the point. They're in the place, call themselves keeping it safe. Mark says, where is the footage of them patrolling the suburbs? Exactly. Now I can say they're probably going to the areas that have statistically considered have more crime. So they're going to the places that are they are responsible for the crimes, the homicides, the carjackings. So wherever area those typically happen in is where they're going. So that's just what they're doing. But then I want to show this here. Shout out to this brother for doing a good job with this. 'Cause I remember when a few years ago, what's his name? Phil Scott of the the African Diaspora News Channel now. He changed the name. When he broke down the murder statistics, because always 13% of the population, 50% of murders. So he went through the numbers to let you know, okay, it ain't 50% of crime. That's not true. The amount of people who are in prison versus the amount of people who are in the country. Then he explained that the people that are considered to be commit the most crime are also the people that are getting the most exonerations. So what does that mean? If this same group that's supposedly committing all this crime has the most exonerations, what does that say? But anyway, let me play what he had to say.
They say for 7 consecutive years, Chicago's had the highest murder rate among cities with more than 1 million people. I'm like, oh my God, crime is out of control. The first bullet point is correct. I believe it was 573 murders, right? Mm-hmm. Which is the lowest point in Chicago since 2019. Oh my God. This is the study that they cited. It's from the Center for Public Safety Initiatives. This is a working paper, which means that it hasn't been subject to full peer review, but like it still has some value. But I'm like, okay, cool. They went and found them a little working paper. This is the data set that they're pulling from.
Ooh, spooky table.
Spooky table. Chicago's had the #1 murder rate among cities with over 1 million people for the last 7 years. How many cities are measured in this statistic? Let's take a zoom in.
Don't piss me off.
Wait, don't piss me off.
Oh, is that the bar graph?
It's 4.
Oh, don't piss me the fuck off. Chicago, Dallas, Los Angeles, and New York City.
When you set the arbitrary bar,
we're not going to put a St. Louis on it,
million, because it doesn't have over 1 million people in it. My God, Chicago's so out of control, we need the military because it's ranked 1 out of 4.
Hold on. Oh. Sorry about that. But I saw when you look up the statistics, and you start breaking these things down in the graphs, it don't, the old saying, numbers don't lie. Well, you can put narratives around them. And that's typically what they're doing. Virginia says, I heard a rather interesting stat yesterday regarding men in prison. Between 40 to 50% come from 2-parent homes. What? I didn't see that, but I wouldn't be surprised. Because was it nature versus nurture? Just because you got a 2-parent household don't mean you're in a positive environment. It's not just about 2-parent household that's important. It would need to be a positive 2-parent household, or at least somewhat, not something that's just equivalent to a single parent, where somebody might be in a household where they're barely there, always fighting, stuck in poverty, that type of thing, and that's going to just have as much of a negative effect as a single parent. Virginia says, I just Googled it and AI confirmed it, did add more factors to the equation. Yeah. Now, as I was saying regarding the narrative about the violence, particularly from black men, as Trump said, these black ladies called me and said we need help. So clearly the threat would be the black males of this community. And I saw on social media, people start using talking points about the biggest threat to the community and who's committing all these murders and stuff. And when somebody pointed out this graph, I was shocked at the numbers, for the initial numbers, and then how those numbers shrink, and wondering what was going on in the 70s and 80s. What in the hell was going on in the 70s and 80s? So it started with a video by Ryan Clark, again, who was defending Sha'Carri Richardson. Well, he wasn't defending, but he was talking about Sha'Carri Richardson and the situation that happened with her and her boyfriend when she was beating on him at the airport. Matter of fact, I should play that. Let me give you all context where this come from.
Charlamagne saying that it's a double standard in domestic violence from women to men is true, and it should be. Just to
say the start, I believe in double standards.
Throughout history, men are freaking awful.
This is where he go off the rails.
So like it was the whole big thing back in the day, would a woman take a bear or be on the street with a man that they don't know? That's not because they want to portray men as a certain thing. It's because men have been a certain thing. It's also because of the level of physicality between the two genders, right?
Versus a bear?
Right. No, it doesn't make it okay for a woman to hit a man. It doesn't make that something that we should allow to happen, but there is a difference in the things. I can see the difference. I know why there's a difference. And when you think about Shakari Richardson and Christian Coleman, largely black women protect black men. Black women protect our culture. Largely, that's something that black women want spoken about, that we praise them for. But there are these situations as well that do become aggressive, that do become violent. They are not without fault. But what Shakari Richardson has to think of, and any black woman that puts a black man in that position, is what could be the next step for him.
Right.
In a world that doesn't value him, with authority figures who have had run-ins with unarmed black men that turn violent, you've now put him in a bad situation. And I think those are the thought processes that sometimes when you're young and you're immature, you don't process in the right way.
Shakari Richardson, when the cops came, told him, "Why you arrested me instead of the man?" She was definitely not thinking that way.
Whether it's the initial action or it's the second half of it where you're pleading with the police officers and saying his name in those ways and now involving him in the second tier of it. And so, like, the thing for me would be protect one another.
Right. And that's where it should have stopped. Craig says there was a white woman saying that blacks killed more white than white killed blacks, and then black men more white women than white men. Then black men rape more white women than white men rape black women. And that's why I was talking about these numbers. So this person right here, shout out to Just Matt. He said, this is dumb as shit. From at least 1976 to 1990, I didn't think this is true. This is real. More black women killed their spouses every year than the other way around. Size and gender differences don't determine whether someone can have the capacity to kill or injure. Anyone assaults you, you have the duty to protect yourself. Now look at this. This is crazy. And I'm not going to this gender war thing, but look at this. From 1976. You see, right, black, male, female, and then homicides. More in each category, more black men were killed in their relationship than the women. So I didn't even go from a gender war perspective with this. I immediately thought, what the hell is happening in the 70s and 80s where this was happening? Now you got to think about, you had the crack epidemic in the 80s. You had what was leading to this level of violence in relationships? Forget the gender part, where people were dying in these relationships at this number. Now, as you can see, as time goes on, there's a drop, but it's not just a drop in how many black men are being killed or black women are doing it. It's a drop in murders in general, right? The number is just less, and significantly less for the men. But you know what didn't drop? You know what number didn't drop? White females. So from all time, white men have been killing white women at around the same clip as they did 20, 30 years ago. Murders in general amongst black men and women have dropped. It's almost half, most of it came in half. It's still way too many. One is too many. I'm one of those people that just, you want to just get that number as low as possible. We know things happen, people do bad things, but y'all talking about this. I'm thinking about this number. They still are at almost 800 a year. Mark Gordon said feminist movement. I don't know. Right after the civil rights movement kind of peaked, after obviously the law was signed, civil rights law, you could say around the early mid 70s is when the feminist movement truly took off, when they started grabbing black women, convincing them to hey, black women, you can be a double minority if you allow us as white women to paint ourselves as a minority, even though we're literally the majority of the country. The majority of the country is white women. That's the biggest demographic, at least back then especially. So they use black women to make themselves a minority, the CIA and all that stuff involved. We know the stories. And then found a way to use all the things that were meant for black people when it comes to all the amendments set to the side. It was enough given to white women because they would make themselves a minority. I don't know if I could say the feminist movement led to more murders or violence in relationships. It had to have just been the drug situation, the crime epidemic, the gang violence. That has to be what counted. I don't want to think that in middle Black America, you know, people black people just killing each other, killing their wives and husbands. I want to think this had more to do with the married people inside of certain poverty-stricken neighborhoods, I want to say. But anyway, and it goes to that narrative that he's talking about where these black men are committing all this crime. They're so violent. As did he delete the comment? YouTube is definitely deleting comments right now. It's weird. Craig, the violence was an aftermath of what they were spraying in our community during the 50s. That's you're right. Maybe that's what it is. Maybe that's what it is. We know they were doing everything they could to do everything, put things in the neighborhood to kill you off, and maybe they decided to MK Ultra some things. And that brought me to this. As I said earlier, a lot of the writings you see from these the talking points from these feminist talking heads, they were saying things that you saw from the KKK. Oh, you deleted it? Okay, my bad. I was about to say, because it normally didn't do that, but if y'all deleting, that's fine, that's cool. I hope I ain't got a setting on that's doing it either. But I saw this right here. Somebody compared it to this. At the Jim Crow Museum, How Sleeps the Beast. The brute caricature portrays black men as innately savage, animalistic, destructive, and criminal, deserving punishment, maybe death. This brute is a fiend, a sociopath, an antisocial menace. Black brutes are depicted as heinous, terrifying predators who target helpless victims, especially white women. Charles H. Smith, 1893, writing in the 1890s, claimed a bad Negro is the most horrible creature upon the earth, the most brutal and merciless. Keep in mind, these are people that have been going around rape, rob, and murder for centuries saying this stuff. Contemporary of Smith said that the black race, when it produces a brute, he is the worst and most insatiate brute that exists in human form. Another negrophobic writer claimed, when a knock in the head of the door, a white woman shudders with nameless horror. The black brute is a lurking in the dark, a monstrous beast, crazed lust. I found out also that the reason why, apparently the reason why weed was banned is because Caucasian men convinced people that when white women smoke weed, they sleep with black men. And I'm saying this because when you see the stuff this man is saying here, how he's painting the quote unquote black brute, and then you read some of the writings by the authors that I named earlier, they'll say that there needs to be a certain level of re-socializing to happen to black males. To say you need to re-socialize a group is really that's a pretty big ego to say that, because who are you saying is going to re-socialize these black men and boys? So this idea isn't new, obviously, but this type of language has been put in academia in order to it's been used in academia to one, continue the narratives of feminism, as far as turning into a black feminist thing. It's hard to convince black women to be a part of feminism if they don't see themselves in it. And if you're constantly just saying white, they're gonna feel like, well, what's going on in my neighborhood or in my household or in my community isn't being addressed when it comes to gender-based arguments. So they use these talking points, and now you have these people who are out in the world on social media who maybe didn't even go to college, but they're using the same talking points from the late 1800s to now to describe black men, pointing out they need to be re-socialized, their violence. And so when Trump makes that comment, these black ladies are the ones who's asking me to come and save them with the National Guard. It's a lot more than just Trump saying something to make an excuse for sending the National Guard. He's just saying something just to say it. It's a broader reason he's saying these things. Mark says drops inhibitions, maybe, but that ain't really what it is. They were lying. It didn't make them sleep with black men no more than they already were. When we talk about the idea of rape or stuff like that happened back in the day, it happened with black men and white women too. The whole thing was, if you don't do it, I'm gonna say you raped me. So, yeah. Got the last thing I want to show, I think. And I want to show this. This is it. So the black side of academia don't have real conversations about gender within the black community, but the white women get to say what they want to say and sometimes tell some truth. There's a Arab woman on social media who quote unquote defends black masculinity. She doesn't. She just says common sense stuff, but she's hated by these feminists. Virginia says, in everything, everywhere, and all at once, when the blacks speak, act, move, everybody else uses us for their agenda, even if out of context. Yeah, Mark said that happened more than people want to admit. Exactly. I want to show this too. This and the last thing. Now, these are what the white women are able to say. They're able to go deeper into the stigma and stuff around black men and their masculinity. Now, this is what she had to say. She said, uniqueness of attitude towards black men. In a nationally representative sample of white Americans, we find that black men are indeed considered uniquely violent. While a traditional question about racial and gendered stereotyping finds that whites perceive blacks as more violent than whites and men are more violent than women, a question that asks about a combination of these identities, black men, white women, etc., shows how black men are uniquely stigmatized. More than 40% said that many or most all black men were violent, but less than 20% said that of black women and white men. The figure below shows these results. Now, this goes back to the idea of black men being discriminated against, not just for their race, but their gender, which is in the academic world, you can't say that. That's going against the code. There's no way we're supposed to be able to say that black men are discriminated against because of their gender. It's always just racist. It has nothing to do with gender. Even though, and if you believe in a system of so-called white supremacy, you would have to believe that the person that's considered the greater threat would be the one that would be the one that people attack more, which is the men. Which is why during that same time, white men back in the day used to view masculinity through the lens of virility. Children, passing on your lineage. That's why if you were a Caucasian woman that laid with a black man, that kid is black. Even a drop of that's where the one drop rule comes from. You know, that's the actual patriarchy, but you know. Then I want to show this last piece right here. Hold on. To tie it all up in a bow.
Place out there. I don't want state prisoners, okay? They are a necessary evil to keep the doors open, that we keep a few or keep some out there. And that's the ones that you can work. That's the ones that can pick up trash, the work release programs. But guess what? Those are the ones that they're releasing. In addition to the bad ones, and I call these bad, in addition to them, they're releasing some good ones.
Good ones.
That we use every day to wash cars, to change the oil in our cars, to cook in the kitchen, to do all that where we save money. Well, they're going to let them out.
Do you hear what this dude is saying? Louisiana sheriff is angry that prisoners are actually changing their lives and getting out of prison. This man is sitting there letting the good prisoners out. The ones we can get free labor from, that's called slavery. The ones we're getting free labor from, you're letting them out. And this is why I say, man, do everything you can to never let these people put you in these positions. The crazy thing is happening in life, but thank God you have to find a way to dodge every bullet, because this man is in front of in a press conference calling prisoners good and bad based off of the free labor he can gain. And who you think the majority of that is in Louisiana? Louisiana is known for their crazy prisons and their laws and stuff and how they give time and stuff. Louisiana, Alabama, New Orleans, they known for this. This is what the society you're dealing with. These are the group. This is why I always say we're still in captivity. You still have to be careful and watch yourself. And when you give these people a reason, a chance, they're going to do this to you. And then make it seem like they're doing the community a favor by saying that the good prisoners, the people who are in jail for nonviolent crimes, short periods of stuff, maybe for something they might be innocent for. We can use them to wash cars and to get trash off the side of the streets and build license plates and cereal boxes and all the other stuff. These people is crazy, man. Let me play that one more time. I got to play that one more time.
Place out there. I don't want state prisons.
I don't want state prisons.
Okay? They are a necessary evil.
Necessary evil.
To keep the doors open.
To keep the doors open. Money. As I said, in this country, they make a profit on you to the day you die. Even your funeral costs money. Insurance. They make money off you from the day you're born to the day you die, regardless of what you're doing. You committing crime or are you paying taxes? Which one? Either way, we're going to make our money. Because when we catch you for committing a crime, we're going to take the money you was making and we're going to put you in jail. We're going to make money off of you while you're in jail when you work the jobs for free. They've monetized your entire life.
We keep a few or keep some out there. And that's the ones that you can work. That's the ones that can pick up trash, the work release programs. But
and you got 3 black officers standing behind them. That's what's even crazier.
What? Those are the ones that they're releasing. In addition to the bad ones, and I call these bad, in addition to them, they're releasing some good ones that we use every day to wash cars, to change the oil in our cars, to cook in the kitchen, to do all that where we save money. Well, they're going to let them out.
See, this is why I like the South, by the way. They don't mince words. They say it. They say it the way they feel it. They don't. It's not as passive aggressive as I've seen from the northern parts of America, or even over here in the West, the Northwest. It's very passive aggressive racism. Almost a certain level of like they're saying something that they don't even know. It's just like they want you to paint it as they're just being ignorant. They don't know, and it's not that. I love in the South. They say it and they show you it. And there's a certain level of respect that's in the South because I know what you think and you know what I think. You stay over there, I'll stay over here. But yeah. Virginia says, they're constantly afraid of black domination. Pressing these people are truly amazing. Mark said they have a former plantation turned into a prison in Louisiana. Not surprised. I'm surprised. I'm pretty sure it's more than one. I'm pretty sure it's more than one, not just in Louisiana. Pretty sure South Carolina, Georgia, hell, Tennessee probably got one. Jenny says they want to be elite so bad, just devils. Hey, they are the devil that the Bible speaks of. But anyway, thank y'all for coming through. Hopefully this episode was a lot smoother than the last one. Hopefully it wasn't as much lag. I'm gonna try to make sure I fix that this week. Make sure it's a better listening experience for y'all. And as always, thank y'all for coming through. Be sure to like it on your way out. Thank y'all for coming through. Peace and blessings to y'all and your families. Hopefully you have another peaceful, stress-free week, prosperous week. Blessings. And as always, Virginia said, good show, Duke. End on a good note and then start fresh on Moon Day. Great show. Thank you very much, Craig. Peace. Thank y'all for coming through, spending a little time with me. Good conversations we had. Be sure to like it on your way out. Share it if you can. Subscribe if you're not. And as always, all praise to the Most High. And peace, man.